14th, 2025, 6 o'clock p.m. Can we get our Pledge of Allegiance, please? All right, thank you. Heather, we'll let Dan grab a seat, but will you go ahead and slowly start the roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Seltzer.
I'm here.
All right. Trustee Salaka.
Were you supposed to do that? Were you supposed to do
Trustee Hansen.
Here.
President Goldberg.
Present.
Trustee Harris.
Here.
Trustee Gates.
Oh, hold on a second. I'm sorry. I need to silence my. All right. So we have an agenda in front of us,
Adoption.
but several things have come to the forefront that we kind of need to take care of in light of what's transpired in the last week. So, in addition to a communication that we got from our sanitary sewer drainage district on a decision we need to make before our next meeting. So, I am going to be adding a couple items to the agenda. All these are going to fall under new business. We're going to have to probably discuss infrastructure committee's crosswalks and sign initiative to the end. So the first item, C, is going to be consider prepayment of the Evergreen Farmington Sanitary Sewer Drainage District assessment. I'll explain that later. Second is consider adding either a full or part-time treasurer to the village staff based on available candidates and HR people committee's research into the subject. Item E is consider authorizing the village attorney to finalize an amendment to the acting village administrator's to the chief's contract to add acting village administrator to his position for an interim period, and then to authorize me to execute it after the chief and the village attorney finalize the details. And then the last item, which is something that our bank is requiring. I'm gonna need to prepare a resolution right now to consider removing Meg, Dana, and Lance as signatories from the First Merchant bank accounts and adding myself and Kurt Lawson as the signatories.
Motion to approve.
I'm not asking for a motion to approve yet, Mike, hold on a
Oh, okay.
second. And then adding that as item G. So, and again, when we get to that item, I'll further explain that. All right, Mike, I'm sorry, go ahead if you want to make a motion.
Motion to approve your, you know what, I have an agenda that does not have those on.
It doesn't, I'm adding them right now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended by me.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second
So,
that.
second by Seltzer, first by Seltzer, motion by Seltzer, second by Hanson to adopt the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, minutes from our June 9th, 2025 council meeting. Any comments from anybody?
I just have one edit to it. If you go to page 5, under public hearing was closed by President Bill Lamont at 7:08. Okay, that, David Goldberg.
That was one. Anybody else? So I only have one point of clarification, and if we don't recall, I'll ask Heather to check the tape. So I was in on page 4, Planning Commission report. It was moved by Solaka, second by Gates. It's written to draft a blight ordinance. I thought we had instructed the Planning Commission to research the need for a blight ordinance. I don't recall a direct instruction for them to begin drafting something. Does anybody recall that?
No, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so we need to make that correction on page 4. That was all I had.
Could I jump in? On page 6, and I'm truly asking a question probably of both Angelina and David Goldberg. The discussion summary of the budget adoption item C on page 6 was, I think that your concern was the staffing. You had some remaining concerns about the staff costs, the increases that they were given last year. I thought that was part of the discussion.
Sorry, which bullet?
Well, it's not in there, that's the problem. The first bullet is the 20K for community programs. But didn't you also raise a question about the raises that people were given at that point in the discussion?
My proposed budget reductions were
Yeah.
like office supplies,
Yeah.
IT tech, the unauthorized raises by Roger.
Right.
And then the travel.
Yes, and shouldn't that be a bullet in this item as
Fine if you want, yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
mean, we
asking
wanna-
you if you want to, because is it part of the discussion summary that should be included or not? Did you want it to be?
Sorry, I didn't read all these books.
Okay.
I'm fine with just, yeah, I guess, do you want me to, because now that I'm looking at number 1, I might add it to that. Is that what you propose?
I just want to record the conversation
Yeah.
for accuracy. I remember a conversation about that.
Yeah.
It's not here.
We don't usually
Well, it was
capture
like my
everything that's said,
written,
but
it was what I sent the finance committee.
Okay.
So do we want to put the finance committee discussions in here? I think that's my only
typically not.
I mean, it's
No.
up to you.
No, because that wasn't discussed at the meeting. I
Okay.
think the minutes are.
I'm fine leaving it
Okay.
off if it's okay with you.
Yeah, yeah,
With you,
that's fine,
okay.
thanks.
All right.
Right, so, do we have a motion in a second? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended?
Aye.
Heather, did we have a motion in a second there?
We did not.
I didn't think so.
We had a
I-
motion and a second for the adoption of the agenda.
Correct.
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Who seconded it?
I'll second. Trustee Solid.
Trustee Sal.
And that's to approve the minutes with the corrections by trustee Sally and myself. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, next is public requests and comments. I see we have a full crowd today. Public comments time, especially with this type of crowd, is not going to be a time where you're going to be able to get reactions and answers, and so it's not a Q&A session. It's an opportunity for you to make a statement if you'd like, that if it's something that could lead into an action item, then that would be something that we would advance to the village administrator to take into consideration. But for the time being, everybody's an opportunity to speak, so because of the number of people that we have here today, we're gonna try and limit our comment, and we're gonna limit our comments to 2 minutes, which has been the norm lately. So, Stephanie, if you don't mind keeping track. So anyone who wants to come up and address the council, please feel free.
Hi, I'm Jan Friedman, and I live in Bingham Farms. And the reason I'm here is I've been trying to get a hold of people. Yeah, I know that you're kind of in a turmoil here because you're the main person that resigned. What I'm here for is to find out if there's any interest of the Franklin community to discuss or research the overpopulation of deer. The city of Southfield Township, Farmington Hills and Farmington have all gotten together to do something about it in Farmington because of the accidents with the deer, because of the disease, and because how our vegetation is being destroyed. So basically, I just would like to know if there's any interest in pursuing it with Franklin, or if you had any discussions
So we have been
about it.
having discussions on it. There's different types of ways to do it, sterilization versus culling.
Right.
Our sister communities chose the culling route. When we researched the culling requirements, we don't really fit that box very well because we don't have the open spaces that that are required in order to have a cull. Those other communities are far larger than ours with large parks, far exceed 5 acres. The only area that we have of open space of that size is standing right out beside us, and I couldn't imagine an open hunt there. So the village is looking into the other opportunities, and if the the Bingham Farms leadership reaches out to our leadership, we would definitely take a look at how our two communities could look at the issue, because it definitely is an issue.
Yeah.
But we have
Okay.
looked into
So, you know, we're both small communities, and we share a police department and a,
I just wanted to let you know that we are looking into it, so if you have anything else to
Okay.
add, thank you.
all right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Bashir?
Good evening, everyone. Bashir Sharma, 30158 Rosemont Court. First, I want to start by thanking Heather and Chief Lawson for stepping up and volunteering to support us at this time. You know, you guys are such a valuable asset for our village. Thank you very much. And Stephanie as well, of course. I can't forget Stephanie. I have few proposals, and all in regards to amending the current charter that we currently have. One of them is to maybe merge the responsibilities of the village administrator with the president of the council. Maybe we'll look into that. In successful corporations today, the chairman of the board is often the CEO and vice versa. So this is something we can maybe look into turning into that position into an elected position. And this way we don't have to worry about hiring, and maybe we expand responsibility and have some opportunities to streamline communication and responsibilities. The second thing I have, for example, if you look at chapter 3 of the amendment and section 3 to be specific, a person have to have been living here for 2 years to be able to serve the community, right? Maybe it's time we look, maybe have it 1 year. It's more than enough for people to know what they need in this community and how they can help. And maybe we'll have more people raising their hands or trying to run for council. The other as well, we need to look into the part in section 3 as well, whereby renters cannot run or serve in the village. So we need to look into this. Okay, today you have to be a section 3 an owner of a property or married to someone that owns a property within the village to be able to serve on a council or serve within the village. Maybe we need to look into how is that fit the renters, what the renters part of that. So that being said, my proposal here, if maybe we establish a committee to go ahead and start looking at the charter and put few proposals before the council to go ahead and maybe put something on the ballot for 26. Thank you very much.
We'll definitely take a look at charter amendments. That's always an issue. We always keep an eye on.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy to volunteer and help on that committee. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening, everyone. Natalia Shub, 32334 Franklin Road. I'm speaking tonight out of deep concern regarding a serious and ongoing violation of our village charter that requires immediate attention and action by this council. On June 30th, 2025, Trustee Salzer and his wife sold their only property in the village of Franklin. According to Village Charter, Chapter 3, Section 3, eligibility for the village council requires property ownership in the village. As of that date, Trustee Salzer no longer meets these requirements. Yet he has not resigned and continues to act as a trustee. He attended last Wednesday a council meeting and participated without disclosing his ineligibility. This is not simply an oversight, it is a clear act of deception toward both council and the public. Even before selling his property, Trustee Seltzer was often absent from the council meetings, spending most of his time in Arizona. He attended approximately 5 council meetings per year and effectively disengaged from his responsibilities as an elected official. Now, without property ownership or residency in the village, Trustee Seltzer is not eligible to serve. The village charter not only includes this eligibility requirement, but also defines a vacancy upon loss of the residency. And under Michigan compiled law 62.11, when an elected official ceases to be a resident of the village, his office is automatically vacated by operation of law. Trustee Seltzer has not only violated the village charter, local ordinances, and Michigan law by continuing to serve while not eligible. I respectfully request that you acknowledge the vacancy created under MCL 62.11. Trustee Seltzer resign immediately. If not, then the president must recommend measures and ensure the enforcement of village laws and ordinances, including those related to eligibility for office, to remove Trustee Seltzer from the council. Allowing a person who is not eligible to act on behalf of the village undermines good governance and public trust. The residents of the Franklin deserve transparency, accountability, and leadership that honors both the letter and the spirit of the law. Thank you.
So before the next person comes, I just want to clarify one thing, and as far as Trustee Seltzer's residency, that will actually be addressed later in the meeting in a statement. I just want to clarify a statement that Bashir made, and I'll defer to our village attorney as well as what Ms. Shub just stated, that despite what our charter says, requiring someone to be an owner in order to be an elected official, the state, well, I don't know if it's our state constitution or our state Supreme Court has determined that that's unconstitutional, that all you have to do is be a resident of the village in which you're running for, which is established through leasing. Essentially, if that were legal, you couldn't lease a piece of property and run for office. So the charter, which that section will need to be corrected, but correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, that we would be unable to enforce the requirement that someone be an owner only in order to be a trustee.
That is correct. That was done by the state Supreme Court that said you don't need to own property in a municipality to be an elected official. You could be a renter.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mark, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank everyone for letting me have the opportunity to be before you here. It's truly a humbling experience. Mark Cooper. I'm Mark Cooper, president of the Main Street of Franklin for the Business Association. We've had a little movement in our organization as well, as far as changing of the board, the members. I'm now president. The previous president was at the Comerica Bank, so he moved on. So I got stuck in the position of being here, and I'm truly enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the opportunity that we bring for Franklin Village here. I think a lot of things have been overlooked. I think a lot of things have been pushed under the rug that I think is the current team is looking forward to doing things differently. I think you're going to be very pleased because I'm very happy. Sunshine and good smoke is going to be a good stuff. And we're looking forward to working with you guys. Thank you so very much.
Likewise. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mark.
Mark.
Appreciate your leadership. Mr. Brakeman.
Randy Brakeman, 27390 Wellington. I think we need to realize that, we're celebrating 200 years of this village now. And one of the mottos of the village is, let's remember our motto, the town, the time forgot. So let's forget and move on. We all have positive jobs to do for the goodwill of the village and for the sake of getting things done in the future. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the optimism as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Simon of 30320 Kincardine, and I've lived in Franklin for 55 years. The village's entire administrative staff has resigned. This is a crisis. Megan Schubert, our hardworking and very competent administrator, has given President Goldberg 2 letters of resignation explaining her reasons for leaving. In my opinion, and that of many others, Megan's departure will be a huge loss for our village. If you want to know the reasons for Megan's leaving, President Goldberg advised villages to send a FOIA letter asking for Megan's 2 letters of resignation. A FOIA letter is available on the clerk's desk as you leave. Although I have not read Megan's 2 letters, I have been informed that she was having a problem with a certain trustee who was apparently overstepping the boundaries of her job description. This trustee, on almost a daily basis, would try to direct and micromanage Megan. If accurate, this trustee's actions were illegal according to the Michigan State Charter, which designates that the council should only engage the administrator as a whole body, and that individual trustees are forbidden to interfere with the daily functions and workload of the administrator and her staff. The Michigan Charter has established a chain of command for village-type governments called the Management Council Structure, and trustees must act in accordance with this structure. In order for our village council and future administrators to maintain an effective functional relationship, all 7 council members must agree to respect their limited role and allow the administrator to act independently to achieve the goals set by the council as a whole. We cannot afford to have a repeat of the situation the village is now in.
Anybody else?
Hello, everyone. Ron Riami, 32692 Ravine Drive, and the condos back here, the 14 of them. I don't know if anybody's complaining besides myself about priority waste, but like, wow. They kind of forget to pick things up a lot, and, you know, our continual calls to the village. I'm not sure if others are having the same issue. And then also concerned about, obviously, the big crowd here must be about the, what's happened with everyone resigning. I've heard a lot of negative things, and about, you know, some of the trustees that are here, unfortunately. And I also wanted to know about what's happening with the farmhouse and the bank and all the real estate that's vacant, nothing seems to be moving forward. And I'm happy to see that Trustee Seltzer is still with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, Kathy Ehrlich, 26745 Crestwood. I too am extremely disappointed with the loss of Meg and our office staff. They were an effective group who worked well together and with the overall community. This is incredibly disruptive and a huge loss of institutional knowledge. The community deserves to know why this has happened, and I honestly don't understand why a FOIA request is needed, and I request a full explanation to be shared tonight. But either way, I strongly encourage council to correct the problem quickly and do what it takes to bring Meg back if she's willing. Additionally, I want to voice concerns in general regarding computer and cell phone use by trustees during council meetings. When I was on this council, I was told that trustees should not be texting or emailing during meetings, not to each other, to office staff, or to the community at large. They need to be 100% present at meetings and not have outside communication. Having computers and cell phones open during meetings enables opportunities for abuse, allowing trustees to potentially contact each other or other villagers. Council meetings require full transparency. How can that be achieved when we can't see what's coming through their screens? One example of this was at the last special meeting when during an important discussion, Trustee Sulaka was seen texting multiple times. It appeared as if Trustee Hansen had asked her to stop, but soon after Sulaka again picked up her phone and resumed texting. In addition to potentially violating the Open Meetings Act, this was disrespectful to the other trustees and insulting to all those watching, including our police chief and interim staff who have graciously offered to help us get through this mess. A clear policy for device use during meetings needs to be communicated and enforced. And if screen use is permitted, information shared during meetings on private devices should be subject to public record.
We'll deal with it. After, when we're done in discussion, we will, instead of in a response. Anybody else?
Hi, Emily Hutchison, 32800 Brandingham. I'm here today to express my significant concern regarding the recent conduct observed during the Franklin Village Council meetings and to urge a renewed focus on the critical issues facing our community. At recent town halls, council member Michael Selzer has exhibited behavior that I believe is unbecoming of an elected official, specifically his condescending remarks towards Representatives Sali and Sulaka, seemingly due to their marital relationship, and his directive for Councilmember Gates to shut up, undermine the principles of respect and professional discourse essential for effective governance. Furthermore, Councilmember Selzer has used his platform to solicit personal tips, donations for personal businesses, and promote his own podcast, which I believe is an inappropriate use of public meeting time and a disservice to the residents of Franklin. I respectfully request that the council exercise tighter control over the decorum of the council meetings and an adherence to a focused agenda. Town hall meetings should be dedicated to addressing village matters, not to promoting personal enterprises. To that end, I strongly recommend that the council establish clear principles regarding agenda item inclusion and council member conduct, where expectations are outlined on how to be respectful and professional to your council members and village administration. Additionally, there's been a noticeable lack of a clear process for bringing agenda items forward, leading to unproductive bickering among council members. To address this, I propose that the council develop a set of principles that clearly define pre-reading distribution and agenda establishment. Ultimately, I hope that this serves as a call to action for the entire council to shift its focus to pressing issues facing the villagers of Franklin, included but not limited to our deep budget deficit, bringing connectivity to all villagers to downtown Franklin to increase foot traffic, and the growing number of vacant buildings on downtown Franklin. It is urgent that the council addresses these critical concerns to ensure Franklin can become a vibrant downtown where businesses can succeed. As Franklin is home to a growing number of young families, I also encourage the council to prioritize safety for walkers and to make the downtown area inviting for families. I am confident that by establishing clear guidelines for conduct and process and by focusing on these crucial community issues, the Franklin Village Council can better serve its constituents and foster a more productive and respectful environment. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Howdy, Lloyd Whipperman, 30830 Franklin Road. I want to take a moment. This isn't about personalities on the board, not on the board, or otherwise. I was given the opportunity to take a look at the village charter and spent the 3 hours in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep anyway to read the damn thing. But be that as it may, what it points out to is something that I'm president of our condo association in Miami Beach, and anybody that knows what's going on in Florida, that's a wicked job. And it's a no-paying job. Can't even write off your expenses on the damn thing. The point is that I'm driving to is that I think the structure that we've got in the village of Franklin right now is incorrect in that it needs a city manager or a village manager, whatever title it wants to be called, of which the clerk and the treasurer would report to. That person then becomes the point of interface for the board, the elected officials, non-payment officials, and it goes through there, and that person has control of what's on with the city management activity, activity. I think it would eliminate a lot of the issue that's been brought to the table here. And I want to frankly get to the point where I don't agree with the first gentleman that was up here. I think it needs to go the opposite direction. This village is big enough and certainly has got some issues that point to the fact that a village manager would be the correct way to go with this. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Rick David, 27201 Wellington. We're here to talk about another important issue in this community, pickleball. On July, I'll put it right here so you can all admire the pickleball. On July 24th, 10 days from now, the FCA is sponsoring its first annual pickleball social. I encourage all the council people and our residents to attend. It's for adults only, equipment's provided. We want you to come together as a community to enjoy our beautiful village green, to play pickleball. If you haven't played before, we'll have people, pros, to teach you how to play. If you have played, meet some neighbors that have also enjoyed this great sport. We want to utilize our facilities and bring the community together. And you're all welcome to come, and it's Thursday the 24th at 7 o'clock.
Are you one of the pros?
No. But I do have...
That's not what you said earlier.
Here you go.
Thank
They're
you.
specially made for the event.
Well, getting a pickleball.
You'll notice they've been emblazoned with the proper name, Franklin.
Oh, very nice. How much did you spend on these?
Everybody that comes will get it.
Wait, there's a whole lot of lawyers here. That could be a case.
Please come and join us.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. Anybody else?
Jeff Kopelman, 30895 Oak Leaf Lane. Last Wednesday, I asked a question, so I'm not asking any more questions. I found out something today I was kind of sad about, because I was hoping someday, everybody else must know, I must be the last one, I don't know. Does everybody know that they're putting a grocery store in Bingham Farms? We're not going to have, does everybody know that corner is going to be a grocery store? Telegraph in 13? Yeah, I found out today they're putting a grocery store there. I was hoping we'd have it back in Franklin where it belongs, but I guess Bingham Farms beat us to it. I just thought I'd report that.
Thanks.
That's what I was told today.
Appreciate that. Thanks. We're not exactly at the corner of Franklin. 13 Mile Telegraph, or downtown. Okay. I know what he's talking about. Yeah. Anybody else? Really? I mean, I don't know what that, I have no idea. All right, two items. I had received emails for asking statements to be made. The first was from Jeffrey King, who also copied Ms. Hutchinson. So he reiterated what Ms. Hutchinson said. He had concerns for trustee conduct, better definition of how agenda items are established, and a pre-reading distribution of materials. So I want to get that in the record. And I also received a letter from, I guess it was an email from Jennifer Cook, raising concerns regarding trustee Seltzer's conduct at the last meeting and giving some of her opinions of trustee Seltzer. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. So before we move on, Angelina, if you wanted to, I'll give you an opportunity to speak. I want to address a couple of the items that were addressed. Village priority, that's, I asked residents to continue to contact the office, especially we're going through the transition. Please make sure that we get it on the list. From my experience, if you reach out to them, they do come back if they missed it. So if that's not the case, please, and I will allow you to, my Village of Franklin email address is available on the website. Feel free to email myself. I will make sure that we have communications to priority. That I'm not comfortable with. On my street, they seem to be pretty good, so I don't see that, and I apologize. I live on a short cul-de-sac, so if there are areas in the village, particularly the condominiums, which are a little more set back, please, I allow you the opportunity to reach out to me so that I can follow up with Chief. He's got a lot of things going on, and I don't mind taking the point on that particular item. That's a big deal. We're paying them a lot of money, and we deserve service. So feel free
Are there other channels that residents might have aside from reaching out to Priority? Is there a specific email?
Well, I mean,
number?
Priority has a customer service number. If you call them and say, hey, you didn't pick up my stuff, they assure that they'll be back by at the latest the next day. And I see this gentleman still shaking his head. If that's not the case, then let me know of specific areas like where you live where that's taking place. I'll reach out directly to the owner and make sure that gets addressed. Bless you. All right? Second item, from Mr. Whipperman. Just so you know, sure, the charter does not reflect an ordinance that we have, which is called our village administrator ordinance. We essentially operate under an administrator council structure of government. Everything is designed to run through our administrator, and then the administrator through, currently we only have a clerk, we don't have a treasurer. That's something we're considering changing to. But just so you know, that is the structure of government that we operate under. It's just not reflected in the charter. Our charter only describes what our clerk and treasurer's responsibilities are. Our administrator's responsibilities are established through an ordinance.
Is the administrator a full-time job?
Full-time job. Unfortunately, she just resigned, but we've had full-time administrators for the last 20 years. 20 years.
And is that the focus point of the board of trustees to work through the administrator?
The administrator works at the direction of the board, but the administrator has full control of his or her staff or the contractors. The ordinance that I described, it's 248.
Correct.
It goes from A till I think almost Z of the responsibilities / authority of the village administrator.
And one quick final question. Does the clerk and the treasurer then report through?
Correct. Everybody reports through the administrator. The administrator reports to the council through the president. Thank you. Kathy.
Sorry.
Angelina, if you want to
I
respond.
just wanted to say, I'm not sure everyone's aware, but the council gets an online packet of the agenda and all of the supporting materials before we actually get a paper copy. So a lot of us, including the ones with tablets and cell phones out, can pull up the packet and take notes on it prior to coming here. I know that there was a lot of discussion about like the space, you can't open, you can't take notes, you can't research, you can't spread out, you can't look at things, which is why I like have huge binders of everything. And last meeting, obviously I got up in the middle of the meeting because I didn't have a pen, and Pam had asked me if I could be totally present, and I was taking notes, but out of respect for her, I got up in the middle of the meeting and left to get a pen from the clerk's desk to bring it. This meeting, I brought 2 pens, so that way that didn't happen, Pam. I wrote down my comments out of respect for you, because I know that you don't like me on my cell phone. I also have 4 little kids at home under the age of 9, 3 of which have disabilities, so I do need to be in constant, I need to be contactable by a babysitter. And so I don't not have my phone except if I'm in a SCIF, which is a government facility where I can't have cell phones. So if anyone wants to talk about like being contactable or the ability to be accessible during these meetings, I know we've talked about David Goldberg having screens in front of us so that way we can pull up agenda items. Like Bloomfield Hills, I believe, has screens for all their council members so that way they can pull things up digitally. And it's just like a more efficient way to take notes, especially when you're in a tight space.
All right, thank you. Yes, the Open Meeting Act doesn't prohibit you from having a device available, especially, as she mentioned, a lot of communities do all their agendas online, and if that's the actions that are going on. However, we are not allowed to have communications during the course of the meeting, so although you can be looking on your tablet and doing the agenda, you shouldn't be communicating and typing, which kind of implies that there's some type of back and forth going on. So that's, I think we're all gonna try and adhere to that. And, we have to have our phones on in case of an emergency, but yes, that's understood in the OMA, and we'll try and make sure to be more cognizant of that. All right, so next are the reports of our village officers and agents. So Chief Lawson, sitting in the big seat.
On behalf of the police department, I think all of you got our monthly report. Are there any questions?
Oh, I did see one, there was another larceny from a vehicle in the report. So is this a continued pattern of one-off? Do we have an update kind of around those activities?
Sure, so, I'm not sure how many months ago it was now, maybe 6 months ago, we had a rash of break-ins on the north end of the village over by Telegraph and 14 Mile. There's also quite a few break-ins in Bloomfield Township as well. We were able to get a DNA sample at one of the LFAs, or larceny from vehicles, submitted that to the sheriff's department. We're able to match that to someone that was already in custody. So that person's been charged with a felony, and we believe that he did all of those at that time. And since that point, we've only had like one or two.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody? I had one question. So
Sure.
we had a mental health call, and I'm curious, would that be the type of event that would trigger sending out the mental health liaison that we had most
Yes.
recently approved?
Short answer is yes. So I just interviewed one of the candidates, and she's probably our leading candidate. She has worked as a co-responder for Royal Oak, Ferndale, Madison Heights, and she wants to come over to this direction. She's phenomenal. I'll bring her, if she gets chosen, I'll bring her in. She'll introduce herself. Graduate of U of M, master's degree. But she is a person that would be able to respond to a call like that and help us out.
Perfect. That's moving forward. Excellent. Anybody else? Thanks, Chief. Is Tony here? That's what I thought. Yeah, so Chief Averbuck provided his monthly report. If anybody has a comment, feel free. Otherwise, we'll acknowledge being in receipt of it. Lance, our treasurer.
Okay, good evening, trustees and president. Please accept my written report as the capacity as the village treasurer. The bills list report for this month totals $412,858.45. The amounts on the bills list are consistent with normal monthly spending. The expenditures are generally consistent with our budget. The bills list for this month includes a large entry of $16,700. That's for audit services for both last year and this year that we've paid to PSLZ. The village has sufficient funds to meet its current and anticipated obligations, and the list of account balances in the package is as of July the 1st that we hold at First Merchant Bank. Any
Thank you,
questions?
Lance. Any questions? Okay.
I want to say a couple of words because I unfortunately wasn't here at the last meeting, and there were concerns about budget deficits and concerns about the health of the village. I would say I've been in this position for over 10 years. I've been very proud. We spent hundreds of hours working and completing the streetscape project, which was a huge undertaking, and I think it's turned out extremely well. I'm excited about improvements in the downtown area. Perhaps we have a coffee shop. We just had the restaurant open up. That's very, very good news. And the budget as a whole is dominated, about 80% of the budget's dominated with our efforts towards the police department. And we have a big responsibility to ongoing staffing, and also when people retire, that they're taken care of and that their pensions are strong, solvent, and there's no concern there. We've had, over the years, many finance committee meetings, and we've talked about a glide path, basically where we are, and we recognize that expenses over time go up, and that we have a certain amount of money we're bringing in. It's finite from, the revenues in this village are from taxes, and property values have increased. But we're always concerned that are the expenses going up faster than the revenue we're generating, and is that going to provide, any kind of a problem where we can't meet our ongoing obligations and future obligations? And these are things that we certainly discuss. In fact, in the last couple of years, we've had some slight, millage increases to deal with that, and we discuss that going forward. Obviously, Our plans are to have a full-time combination village administrator / treasurer who will be in that service. I'm happy to act as the volunteer treasurer until that's in place. I'm not going anywhere. But I would say that, that everything is very solid right now. We have good oversight. We have ample funds. We have good general funds. And there's nothing of significant concern as far as I see. Any questions there?
No. First of all, thank you. We are honored and have been fortunate to have you at our stewardship for the last decade. And yes, you are absolutely correct. Our expenses are exceeding our revenues on a growth pattern right now. I think that's going on in a lot of places. And yes, we will in the near future have to address revenues, but your leadership, and I don't know if everybody understands, but we wish that you could have a larger role in the village's financial situation, but we understand that your career has legal limitations that prevent that. But your stewardship to this point has been amazing, and as far as you can take us into the future, we gladly have you at the helm. So
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Can I say something also? Lance, thank you for your dedication and devotion to us. We know you aren't really a treasurer and that you have been a volunteer like all of us.
Yes, and they put in.
And a question, do you ever in the history of this village recall there being anything short of a 7-0 vote in favor of approving our budget?
No.
No. Thank you.
All right. Lance, thank you.
Thanks, Lance. He's done a good job.
All right, you've done an amazing job. So, all right, next is our special reports. I have a couple things that I need to and want to address. So the first is.
We have to approve this. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right.
It's
My
not
bad.
on the agenda, actually.
That's why I
Oh,
missed it.
here, bills.
It got moved down, so
Oh,
that was the
all right.
issue.
Forgive
You know
me.
what?
You
No,
don't have to do that.
let's just do it now. I apologize. I should have caught that earlier. Submission of bills is usually ahead of special reports. So, Lance provided us with the recent, our recent expenditures for the month. Does anybody have any questions? I guess maybe Kurt would probably be the best position to answer for this set of bills, which is a unique one.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
what's the wellness room that we're getting?
Surprise.
Is it like a meditation holding area?
Oh, so when I was over at a Bingham Farms council meeting, there was a resident that asked how he could help us keep our officers, fit mentally and physically. And one of the things that I said I wanted to do that I did at my previous employment was kind of a wellness room where we have brand new exercise equipment, a place for the officers that kind of decompress. And we have a holding cell within our police station that we have never used and never plan on using because we use services at Bloomfield Township. So we have converted that area to basically a wellness room. And this gentleman and his wife from Bingham Farms is going to donate a substantial amount of new equipment for our officers. And we're coming up with policies and making sure that they're not in that room for an extended period of time, but in the period of 12 hours where they're driving around, they can come in and they can walk on the treadmill or lift some weights for a few minutes before they go back out onto the streets. So Meg authorized $5,500 for us to go ahead and redo some duct work and remove a wall.
Okay, that sounds great.
Thank you.
I think you had mentioned it before, right? It's just, did you always call it a wellness room? Or is it gonna be like a
It's
fitness?
evolved.
Yeah, okay.
I have a logistical question. I know that your holding cell actually holds dogs from time to time, so what do you plan to do with stray animals?
Well, that just came up the other day. So we'll probably buy some sort of small cage that we can put an animal in before we can transfer it to another facility.
Thanks, I'm sort of kidding, but.
It's true, actually, Stephanie was taking care of the last one, so.
Excuse me. I would like to donate one from my parents and myself. They raised dogs in this village for over 50 years. Could you get together on that?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for that, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
So I just had one, I just want to make sure of a clarification. I think I see it here. So we had 2 double checks out for the employee health insurance for July and the retiree health insurance. I do see that we voided 2 checks, which equate out to the amount of those duplicated checks. I just want to make sure if you can follow up that
Sure,
we
I can follow up
actually
on that.
didn't send 2 sets of checks out, and that probably, I'm assuming the first 2 are the ones that are reflecting the 2 voided checks. You check that out?
Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Is it true the generator here needs some repairs? Or,
That's a good question. Thank
I
you.
know that some of the residents weren't able to get in touch with people at the village when the storm went out. I was at the library, their generator kicked in like 10 seconds, but
Right.
this one, apparently, I think we just replaced it last year.
No, thank you. It was earlier than, I think it was later than that even.
So I did just pay a bill today for the generators. I believe it's been fixed, but I can follow up on that to be sure.
Okay.
Did we have to pay for them to repair it, or was it part of our warranty, do you know?
There was a amount of money that was paid, but I don't know what that covered, but I can follow up.
As long as it's working.
What was the brand of generator?
It is the brand new generator. It should be.
Generac?
And I'm just saying this because mine was repaired today for catastrophic engine repair. It's 2 years or less, and it is a fully paid warranty-covered service, so.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there, we just
Sure.
had someone take a look at it today. Something about the rods coming through one of the cylinders because they were not heat treated. But it is a catastrophic engine issue,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, thank you for pointing
Okay,
that out.
I'll follow
Let's
up. I don't know if
on
we,
that.
if I paid it was part of the contract or it was for the service, but I know I did pay that fee, so I'll check on it.
Okay. Yeah, they did provide a brand-new engine for ours, so, just a heads up in case we need, if we have more issues, need more repairs, you know, Generac is honoring
Okay.
the warranty, who knew?
Absolutely.
All right, anything else? Anyone? All right, so can I get a motion to approve the bills list?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Seltzer, a second from Sulaka. All in favor of approving the bills list, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Please pay the bills. Okay, special reports. So, a couple things I want to address. First, as everybody has heard throughout the meeting, yes, it is correct. Our village administrator and our village clerk and our village assistant administrator all tendered resignations and all left on the same date, July 11th, which was last Friday. So that is obviously a very unique situation. However, you know, we would be remiss not to, despite their leaving us, thanking them for their dedication and the expertise that they have provided us over the years that they were here, and Meg for the time that she was here. We're certainly grateful for their service, and, you know, we want to acknowledge the fact that they were excellent stewards to the village, and, you know, they will be missed. However, on Wednesday last, this council had a special meeting at which time we approved 3 interim positions. We approved asking Chief Lawson to serve in addition to his chief of police role to act as our acting interim administrator. Meg and he had been in communication about that before she left. She left him an excellent instruction manual to assist him in the process. And I have also assured Chief that I would make myself available when necessary to assist him. But, and then we also were fortunate to have Heather Midlowski step up and offer to serve as our interim clerk. We had the pleasure of having Heather as our clerk, I believe, was it 21 to 22, roughly in that area? So Heather was an amazing clerk and left us only because she had job opportunities that were excellent for her outside of the field. So we are super appreciative of having you back. Meg, Heather is going to be helping us on a part-time basis, filling in for a lot of the things that Dana did with regard to minutes, as she's doing now, notices, and generally just helping out around the office when she can. She has already been working under chief as a part-time contractor to the police department, and she'll continue those services with the village as an acting clerk. And then Stephanie Longworth, who is already an employee of the village and works almost full-time in the police department as chief's administrative assistant, as well as do-all over there. And Stephanie is gonna fill in on some of our, acting as our interim administrative assistant, helping chief with things like payroll, getting bills paid, and making sure that the administrator always has someone there to assist when possible. Stephanie is already an employee of the village, so she'll continue to get paid through the police department. And again, we thank all three of you for stepping up. We're fortunate to have individuals like you already working for us and able to fill in, and you've gone above and beyond doing what you're offering. So we're super grateful. We're super grateful for that. This is a unique situation. We have an empty office, so, well, I take that back. Our entire building department is also still operating. Jenna, who is our building clerk, has also offered to pick up some additional duties within the office. She'll probably be working with Stephanie to make sure that there isn't anything slipping through the cracks. And Jenna's not here, but I also thank Jenna for her agreeing to fill in. Our building official will begin taking on the responsibilities. This was something Meg had delegated even before she resigned. He will begin taking on the responsibilities of attending the HDC and the ZBA meetings. So all of our existing employees and contractors are stepping up, and we thank everybody for that. And it's appreciated in this time. However, we also see this as an opportunity. We, as Lance mentioned, and Lance, I need to get your number because need to consult with you as we move through this, and I'd like you to help the Personnel Committee as we move forward. One of the things that we're considering looking at is maybe re-identifying some of the positions in the office, and we'll address this later, but we currently had 4 employees. We had 3, and then we were looking for a 4th. We had an administrator, a clerk, an administrator assistant, and we were looking for an economic development director that was serving in the capacity right now. Our administrative assistant was serving in 2 capacities. One of the things we're looking at is kind of going back to our charter structure. In the next year and a half, with our financial situation, what it is, and the chance that we might have to go to the villagers to address a millage in the future, we think it's a good idea at this point to go back to having, whether it's a full-time or a part-time treasurer, who can dedicate his or her full-time worrying about Franklin's money and paying bills and the budget. When Meg set out on refining the budget this time around, it turned out to be a time-staking task. It took a lot out of her, and I think moving forward, to have an administrator that wasn't fully burdened with that, and somebody that was trained in finance to assist the village. We've been watching how Bingham Farms operates. They operate with a treasurer that's on full-time, and that's something that we're gonna look at moving forward. We've been considering a full-time economic development director. I'm not sure that right now a full-time economic development director is something that we really need and can afford. We can definitely continue moving forward with economic development through our Main Street board and through our Main Street group, but I'm thinking that a full-time economic development director might be something that a new administrator could share in. I know that the 2 things go hand in hand. Our last administrator was our prior economic development director, and I think that maybe those two positions should be blended, that there should be a clerk, a treasurer, and then the fourth person should be an administrative assistant, a community outreach person, somebody that, I know I'm from the baseball vernacular, so a utility infielder, someone that on any given day could be helping the clerk, the treasurer, the administrator, and when they're not doing that, out doing community engagement. So those are some of the things that we're looking at, so we're gonna try and take this unfortunate situation and make it a fortunate opportunity to look at things and do things better and do things differently. The last thing I will add is, we are in the process, well, I'm gonna have two more things. We are in the process of posting jobs, gonna be discussing them later today, for a full-time clerk. We're gonna post a job for a treasurer, probably post it as either part or full-time, and depending on some of the research that the HR committee does as to, and discussions with Lance as to the amount of time necessary for, if someone were a full-time treasurer, whether that should be a full or part-time position, also will be dependent on the types of candidates we get. And we're gonna go and try and fill those positions immediately. As far as replacing our administrator, we will begin the process of working on that job description. We have Chief willingly in place for 60 days right now to fill that role. I think with the help of everybody on board, everything's gonna move seamlessly, and I know that in the course of the last 3 weeks, there's been a lot of outcry about the concerns of the loss of Meg. I will tell you that all I can say is I will, and our HR committee will continue dialogues with Meg in the near future to see if there is still the opportunity for her to return. I know that's wishful thinking, and I make no promises to that effect, but I will tell you that we will, as we continue to look for an administrator, continue to see if there's an opportunity for Meg to rejoin us. So I will just gonna leave it at that. A couple other things that I want to address. There's been some questions regarding Trustee Seltzer's, the fact that Trustee Seltzer has sold his home. So the basic thing that I'm gonna say on this is we up here don't sit in the capacity of determining anything about people's residency. From our understanding and everything that Trustee Seltzer's presented, although he has sold his house, he is currently living in the house. His purchase agreement allows him to stay in the house through the end of the month. That continues to be his residence right now. So through today's meeting, he's fine being here. Our esteemed village attorney, who had a nice time away, couldn't have picked a worse time to leave us out of the country for the last 3 weeks, returning literally today to business. So I can assure everybody that Trustee Seltzer has been in communication with our village attorney. As we mentioned, you do not have to be an owner of a home in Franklin to be a resident. If Trustee Seltzer establishes a lease relationship or some other leasehold interest here in Franklin that satisfies our village attorney and anybody else that has a say in residency, we will address that. Hopefully, we can get some answer back before the end of the month when Trustee Seltzer leaves, but certainly before our August 11th meeting. And that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Can I speak?
Absolutely, if you want to.
So this has been obviously an unprecedented period here in our village on a lot of fronts. Losing our entire staff is somewhat shocking. The amount of vacancies that we have in our village is disappointing. I've been here for 30 years, and when we decided to sell our home, we did not have a plan. We had decided it was time for us to sell our home because, frankly, it's underutilized, expensive to maintain. And I'll tell you what really struck me is the fire that occurred in Bingham. And that was a tragic fire. And that is something that keeps me awake at night because I live in a home that I cherish. My home was built in 1840. It has an illustrious history. And while I never designated it as historic to protect my heirs, I have taken care of it and protected it. And I'm happy to say that we found people who flew in from out of state and bought it on day one. So surprisingly, it sold very quickly, although my realtor, Linda Hiller Novak, didn't think that was a surprise. We had not planned to leave this soon. But the reality is, I've been part of this community for 3 decades, and I'm proud of the work that I've done. And most often, what I hear from my constituents is thank you, because this is supposedly a thankless task. I don't consider it that. I enjoy doing what I do. And everybody that knows me knows that I've been retired for a decade. And for 8 of those years, I've lived in Arizona for most of the year. And I've been reelected twice with that knowledge. I'm also the president of HOA in Arizona, elected 4 times, with the knowledge that I'm not there full-time. So I have what I think is a uniqueness, and I bring that to what I do here, and I'm proud of it. But if at any given time my constituents don't want me to be here, I'm willing to walk away. I am here because this particular period, to me, is devastating to our community. And I am in great support of Franklin, regardless of whether I'm here every month of the year. I am in support of our president, and I'm in support of my constituents who voted for me and have come up to me after seeing a for sale sign to say, what? What are you doing? We don't want you to leave. And when I told Meg that I was putting my house up for sale, her reaction was emotional and powerful. She was very disappointed because she came at my behest. And David was in that room and Pam was in that room. And she was shaken by that. And I thought really long and hard after that meeting and thought to myself, I can't leave. Now, this was before she resigned, okay? So now she's resigned, and I'm dedicated to trying to bring her back. So I am going to stay on this council until we have righted this ship. And I'll just do a straw poll right here in this audience. How many of you want me to stay on council?
Mike, it's not really relevant right now.
How many of you want me to stay on council? Most people.
All right. Mike, thanks.
All right, well.
That's not how it works. As long as you satisfy.
Thank you.
Right, so
Thank
as long as you.
The people who have spoken against me are
Mike,
people who want my
Mike.
seat.
All right, Mike.
And so I understand that.
I get it.
Thank you.
It's in our village attorney's hands.
I understand.
I have nothing else to add. If anybody else would like to make a comment or anything.
So I just want to start off by thanking Chief Lawson, Heather, Stephanie, and Jenna, for each one of you, not only for the good work that you've done serving in your capacities to the village, but being willing to step up. So again, I don't think that we could say thank you enough. I also want to say thank you to David Goldberg. Since we've been in this situation, he's tirelessly led us through a lot of turmoil. I have full confidence in your leadership and your ability to steer us in the right direction. So again, I think that people can see us sitting up here in the time that we spend while we're up here, but I don't think everybody truly appreciates, or the public at large appreciates, the amount of time that you put towards this. And so I want to take the time to share that appreciation. Similarly, Pam, serving on the personnel. For anybody that doesn't know, I strongly believe in not micromanagement and deferring to the various subcommittees that we have. And so when this all went down, I said, I think that we really need to let the personnel or the people committee lead this efforts. And so Pam, I know that you've leaned on your previous expertise. And then finally, Abby, you have tremendous skill sets within people, HR, personnel, all of those things. And so again, I appreciate the amount of time that each one of you are dedicating to this situation that I personally don't have. I'm not, so as a result of me not putting in the same amount of time, I do want to be appreciative of the time that you have put in. And then finally, the last thing that I want to comment on is something that Bashir stated, which is the village charter, I think has a lot of opportunities for updates. But one of them that was a topic was around property ownership. And Bashir had talked about that renters should be specifically called out. And I just want to reaffirm that. That is something that's been deeply troubling to me for some time, not in this specific instance. But if we look at the tenets of democracy, to remove candidates because they are not landowners goes to a lot of historical crisis and trauma that has occurred within this country. So I do think that it is time that we make an update to the charter.
Agreed, I agree. First of all, I want to thank you for your encouragement and your support. I appreciate that. I want to do a here to Abby and to Pam. You guys have put in tireless hours the last week or so, getting job descriptions together, putting it into a new format, taking what was before and way bettering it. And I've come in for some revisions at the end, but the two of you took the lead on that, and I thank you.
Thanks, both of you. It's nice to hear. It's a lot of work.
Yes, the charter needs a lot of areas that could be addressed. As we know, charter amending isn't an easy task. I think we need to pick and choose them. I think we need to maybe roll each election cycle. I don't think Bashir is wrong in maybe having a committee, even if it includes residents, not necessarily just us up here, planning commissioners, and do a deep dive. I actually have been in the process of doing that. I have a list of already 7 items that could be addressed, whether it's just inaccurate or outdated. We've got dollar figures in there from 20 years ago I think the next police vehicle we buy, we might have to have an election to buy it, because I think we're capped at $50,000 on a major purchase. So there's definitely some things in that charter that need to get fixed, and I welcome an opportunity to do that. Like I said, it takes time. I thank all of our trustees that have stood strong through this period. This is unique, but I think with the leadership we have here, we'll work through this, and we'll come out better at the end. Anybody else want to make a comment and report?
I can follow that, because I wanted to pick up on the charter thing.
Okay.
So the last time we updated our charter was in 2016. We did it as a council exercise, and we asked the attorney at the time to do an audit of the charter. He found, I think, something like 34 items that were either illegal or out of date. What we learned about from that was when there are charter inclusions in our charter, if it's the state law and federal law supersedes it, so it basically nulls it out, but it's there anyway. We ended up and several of you may remember this because you voted on it, but we asked the voters to approve, I think, 6 or 7 different charter changes. You didn't approve all of them, you approved most of them. But I like the idea of a committee where citizens can participate in that. And I also think that one option for starting this process is the one we used last time, which I think worked well, which is to ask our attorney just to go through this and make sure that we all are clear about what's legal and what's not legal. Because a lot of those we didn't fix because they were lower priority items and we didn't want to overload voters. But here we are again, and I want to support, what you're talking about. I think it's a really good idea. It's time.
Anyone else?
Just wanted to touch on some of the things that we've done in the People Committee, because I think there are the obvious, more substantive things like job descriptions and processes, but there's also clearly, at least in my opinion, I think there's been some erosion of culture, with how council, with how our staff, engage with one another. And so one of the things that we've talked about are the kinds of things that are important and how we build some of these things. I know that we were all elected in support of the people that voted for us to be here, to build a culture of trust and of transparency, of consistency, and also of accountability. So those are some things that I I take very seriously in my work when I'm not doing this on council. So I just wanted to also explain that there's some nuance to that work as well, and making sure that both sides work well together. So I don't want to forget to mention those things, because it's been a topic of frequent conversation as we've faced what is arguably a pretty critical situation for the village. In addition to that, and I know, David, you'll talk about this in a little bit, there has been some discussion too around the general org structure. As we've evolved as a village, and as we've considered what are the roles that will suit us and the kinds of work that need to be done operationally, financially, in terms of oversight and accountability. And those are things that have also been frequent topics of discussion. Now, no decisions have been made as far as what org structure might look like. There are some other things we'll need to investigate as part of that work, market conditions, what kinds of work is priority and what we need to do. But those are just a couple of things in addition to the most obvious things about filling role vacancies that have come up, and we spent quite a bit of time thinking about. And as we do with other things, with our charter, with citizen concerns, if there are things that any citizens feel are priorities or things that we need to consider in support of the village and where we go from here, it is a perfect opportunity for us to solicit feedback from all of you, from anybody in this room. I know we have a committee that's kind of steering some of those processes, but we only function in HR land as a function of partnership with the people who we serve. Now, that could be a company and the people who work for those companies in my private life, and in this case, it is all of you. So doing that work in a vacuum is not a successful proposition. So I'm encouraging involvement and feedback from all of you.
Okay. We look forward to that. Angelina?
Yeah, certainly. So, thank you, trustees. I totally agree with Trustee Gates that the more people that come and give input into the process, I always try to compare it to AI. Like when we first got AI, it was bad, and now the more people that use it and the more people that input into our large language models, the better, more accurate it is. So I genuinely know that she's serious when she asks for your input, because right now she's in the creative stage, so ideas are welcomed. So when I ran for council, it was because I didn't agree with the direction that the council was going. Every single person that's been elected on this council, I've had their sign on my lawn. So if I just wanted them to represent me, it would have been much easier not to run, right? Because I have all their cell phone numbers, I could tell them what, my thoughts were, my ideas were. Would have been much less of a sacrifice for my career, my kids, my family, mental health, if I didn't feel a call to serve. But I did because I didn't agree with the way the council was running. And I've endeavored these past 9 months to bring diversity of thought, ideas, input, and discussion to the village and its committees. I don't think it's a surprise. My sign said "More Life for Franklin." And so the thought that I asked a lot of questions and I have a lot of ideas and I want to have discussion is really the platform that I ran on, and the reason why I was elected to this office. So it is, shocking that I get questions about what I wear, why I didn't change my last name, the way I speak, how I take my notes, more than my ideas, my vision, or my dedication to the village. And I don't want to be villainized or subjected because I do things differently. I think that the differences of opinion makes a stronger team. I think that the more we're challenged by each other, the stronger that we become. And there is a lot of strength in looking at things in a new way. We have a lot of new residents, a lot of new families, a lot of new kids, a lot of new businesses, a lot of new leadership. And I think that that is going to be dynamic and bring us into a future that is sustainable and vibrant and welcoming, where people are like, Franklin's open for business. Franklin's open to friends. Franklin's open for families, and we're connected, and we all can embrace each other, even if we disagree with each other. So I'll continue to take up space. I'll continue to ask the hard questions. I'll continue to vocalize my opinions, and I just ask that everyone on the council and its committees have respect for the differences, because I was elected to lead, and if I wanted to follow, I could have. But that was really not what I felt called to do. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Angelina. Anybody else?
Just a quick note to reiterate the thanks to everyone who's leading us through this time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you. All right. All right, that was good. Thank you, everybody. It's good to get everybody's thoughts. We as a group need to move forward together and come through our, whatever we'll call it. We can guess we can call it a crisis. I don't see it as much, but we'll definitely work through this together. All right. Chief, do you have anything to specifically add that isn't on the agenda that we're already taking care of for you?
Nope, everything is wonderful. I will say
Yeah,
that we
job.
did get several complaints about our trash service today that Heather and I took. One of them from a elderly lady, 89 years old, that not only scared me on the phone, but then she came in and scared me here, and Heather rescued me. But we are reaching out to them and letting them know that we're not happy with the service. But yeah, there has been several complaints.
Were you worried for your physical safety, Chief?
Jokingly, yes. She is very nice.
Thank you. Stay on them. If we find a problem, let me know. Like I said, I got the owner's number.
Kurt has been texting, and we request a substantiation via text once it's complete.
Yeah, when we negotiated the contract, I made it a condition that he had to give me his cell phone number, the owner of the company. Our esteemed planning commission chair.
Everyone leaves when planning shows up. It's our meetings too. No, just a quick report from planning. So we introduced the request that council had last month with regards to nuisance or blight, and see what our ordinances have available already, what teeth we have, and how we can help either bolster or enforce what we have on the books. So we're going to discuss that Wednesday. Please come if you're interested. And then we also met with the Historic District Commission earlier this month, to discuss the R3 district and how we can support the homes in the R3 district with regards to our existing ordinances that either they're already in violation of, or how we can help support the those homes that have structures that are already non-compliant, but already grandfathered in as the nomenclature everyone uses. So we're in discussions with that. We're going to continue to work with the Historic District on the Historic District Commission on this. In their regular meeting, we'll have a small planning group that shows up there, since it's already an existing meeting. Utilize time that they already have allocated to continue to improve those discussions as we make progress. And then also in addition to our time and planning, as we formulate ideas. So we're going to try and keep a tight connection with our existing organizations. Main Street's also welcome to participate, since they're down there, if they want to throw in their 2 cents, and zoning as well. So just trying to keep the communication across all of our committees together. We fortunately have a great liaison that's helping us out in planning. We have a connection here, and Trustee Sally will raise any questions or support or concerns to you as well. So,
Excellent, thank you. I know that your group, that the planning commission had a meeting with HDC, so I'm glad to see that the two groups having coordination there and making sure, especially as you're working through the R3 situation, which primarily impacts the historic district, that there's that cooperation going there. So good job in that regard.
any questions for me? Yes.
I have a question. It's one I've asked before, so you know which one it is.
Yes.
So, what I don't know is how far our previous administrator got on getting the master plan draft out into the circulation, the review period. I know it was on her list.
Right.
You may know what the status is. I'm kind of talking to both of you, but I'm wondering if you can
I need to
expedite
take it
that?
on myself to find out where we are
Right.
on
Would-
it, because
Yeah.
with the transition, we do need to figure out a good plan.
And
I
will
guess
as
it's a
well.
transitional issue, yes?
I think she did.
Okay, and
But I
that
will
would be
check
good.
it.
I would like to know.
Pretty sure she did,
Because it's a 60-some day
for sure.
process.
No, you're
and,
100% right. We don't want to waste any more time.
Well, the other thing is, and I wonder if we're nearing that point. I know that it's been a challenge to get this master plan finished. At what point would it be your recommendation, Stuart,
Yeah.
that we need to restart the process?
So this is a little bit tricky, because technically, once the master plan has been approved by, then we have the reset time is 5 years.
Okay.
So we have until 5 years to do another update. Now, I think we started the master plan review before, I guess, just a little bit after, around when President Goldberg left planning to go to council. So it's been in the works for a while, which means that the village evolves and council's priorities also evolved during that time frame as well. It's a very comprehensive document, plus any of the public hearings that we had ongoing into that. The sense of the village has changed during that whole several-year process that we've done this. So the question of whether or not when we should start it again, we can treat it more like a living document in that we can start the discussions for an update of the master plan before the 5 years if we feel that that's necessary. I think it is important that when after we get this 60-day feedback, if there is something that seems glaring that we need to update and change, now that we've evolved, our council has evolved and our village has evolved a little bit, we should address it. So that makes sense to me. That's the job.
I just put it on your list, and I'm happy if you were to talk it through with David and the commissioners. Let us know. I just want to make sure we keep moving forward with it and I think the idea of following through on the community review and sort of finishing off the cycle makes a lot of sense. I know Meg was waiting for a document, and I believe we got it, so thank you.
All right, good, thank you.
Anyone else? Stuart, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Mark? Anyone from Main Street want to say anything? If not, if you guys don't have anything to report.
Yeah, they gotta talk about the summer thing.
Hello, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled again. I didn't know I was going to get an opportunity twice. Well, Main Street has, we've decided not to do the block party this year, but in its place, what we're doing is a collaboration with DTE, who's doing a DTE Main Street collaboration, where we're coming together, and it's going to be like a giant party more than anything else. In that we have Oakland County is going to come on board with some of the equipment for bound houses and stuff like that. We've got DTE sponsoring it. They're contributing food and other options and money to make this thing come forward. And what they want to do is they want to have a forum where they could get the residents to know what's available, what options are there, what programs are there to help them in different situations as far as DTE. They want to have a bigger presence, a more solid presence in the community to let them know what's going on as far as their programs go that people don't really know about. Like I know I have a portable generator at my home. Well, a lot of people don't go to the generator route where it's $8,000-$10,000. They buy a portable generator. Well, DTE offers a program where they'll come out and set your meter up to where it'll take the portable generator with just plugging it in to the meter, and that will operate the essentials in your home until the power comes back on, as well as other opportunities for appliances. And the generators that might fall down are covered under some of the programs that they offer, as well as coming to people that they want to do it to where it's like having that instead of having an 800 number call, you got people standing there telling you what's going on, have your questions answered, and reach out to the businesses as well as to all the residents. This is going to go out to all the residents, it's going to go out to all the businesses, as well as they're reaching out to other communities, to bring other communities into the village as well with this program. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I think in this point with the turmoil that's taking place within a village, I think it's a good opportunity for us to show that we're coming together as a village, coming together to get things done for the village, and that the residents are still important when it comes to taking place. And I think DT is going to do a good job with it. I'm very happy with it. So moving forward, they're going to know their program. We're going to come together with Main Street, and we're going to report to you, or tell David what's happening, and keep you abreast of what's going on so nothing is a surprise. You can disperse the information to the trustees as you see fit, but we will let you know exactly what's going on day to day, and it is the same day, which is the 20th, and we're moving forward. and we're looking forward. Like I said, we have a lot of things going on Main Street that are very, very positive for the village. We're looking at the residents, we're looking at the businesses, and look at them to see what we can do to get those guys involved versus sitting on the sideline waiting for something to shoot up in the air and say, hey, here we are. We want to reach out to those guys personally, talk to those guys, find out where they're at, where their mindset's at. It's like I spoke to one of the people today. In my life and in my span and expertise, I don't want to go offer them an orange when they're looking for an apple. I want to find out what they want and address what they want versus what we want to give them. And that's what Main Street is going to be doing from here on out.
Hey, Mark, I
Yes,
know
sir.
that this was a difficult decision. We all spoke about this in our last meeting because we've had the momentum of the summer block party. But I do think it was a wise decision to make under the circumstances, both staffing-wise and our retail environment looking the way it looks. And I think that this is a good opportunity that you've brought, and I support it.
All right.
I would also mention to our residents, DTE has a great home warranty program, and I utilize it at a cost of
Warranty program.
$55 a month covers 2 generators, 2 refrigerators, 2 furnaces, 2 air conditioners, my cooktop, everything in my house. And I have utilized that over the years, and it's $600 a year. And I can tell you, just calling for air conditioner service, to have Sun come out is $500 for them to show up on your doorstep. So that will help alleviate a lot of the angst that people may have with DTE because we lose power so frequently. And they know that we've had a lot of concerns about that. So this is probably a good PR thing for them, and good for the village.
But they're also help sponsoring it as far as reaching
Yeah.
out, helping us reach out. It's going to be them helping us reach out with Main Street.
Yeah.
And from talking to a lot of the residents, you know about the program,
Yeah.
but 60% of the residents don't know about
Well,
it.
that's why I'm telling
And that's where we
residents
are.
that now.
So it's a good thing as far as the businesses can take advantage of it as well.
We need a date
So I don't want to kill too much of your time. Yes.
Just real quick, could you restate the date and then where the location's gonna be at?
The date is going to be the 20th of August. It's going to be on the green here. Okay. We're going to figure that out first. I know when to sit down. Yes, sir.
No, I just want to thank Main Street, and it's unfortunate to hear that you've canceled Block Party, and I'm sure that it was done for the right reasons, but really, really appreciative of you guys pivoting quickly and providing this alternate event, which will still fill that gap, that get us all together late summer before the kids go back to school, that we've grown accustomed to. So the fact that you were able to salvage an event, we greatly appreciate.
Thank you very much. That's it?
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're actually gonna try and get to some business. Not that that wasn't important business, but, so, we have openings on Planning Commission, Historic District Commission, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have 2 seats that are open, or not open, 2 seats that have come up, or commissioners' terms are expiring. These are all expiring terms. None of these are resignations. 2 on Planning Commission, 2 on Historic District, and 3 on the ZBA. One of them actually is an opening. So we originally were trying to take action on this today, but we didn't, with our transition, we didn't get notices out kind of quick enough, so anybody that is interested in these positions are asked to apply. Applications are available online. They need to be submitted by August 7th to either the clerk or the chief, administrator. I would recommend sending to both, just to make sure that we're getting full coverage. And we'll take action on that at our next meeting.
I was just checking on my phone, but the application isn't attached to the notice. So you have to go on this website to job opportunities. There's like a, one-page employment application. No, if you go back.
That should not be what.
It says application for commissions or boards. Yeah, and it's kind of hidden, it's nested. No, it's not. Yeah, exactly. So just so everyone knows, you have to do like 3 clicks to get it, but this link is where you would find it, and it's the same application for every single board, and it's only 1 page. So, don't be hesitant to apply because you think it's gonna be like a laborious process. We're just looking for some basic information, and, this is the same one for every board, and is it true that they can apply to more than one?
Absolutely. You can just say that you're applying for any opening.
Yeah, thank you, Heather.
There's a little blurb about each, as you can see, the context from the charter is put in there so you can have a quick.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's nice to have that up.
Yeah, so you have to go under boards and commissions.
So we'll take action at our next meeting on those appointments. Next item is our Axon contract. I'll let Chief explain this, but essentially this is the contract that we have with the company that provides our in-car video systems, our body cameras, and our tasers. Chief advises us that we're a little outdated these days. It looks like this organization has given us a fair contract that appears to be inside of our already budgeted items. So, Chief, if you want to add anything, otherwise, I'm assuming you want to have all this equipment and having new stuff works and our contract's up, so.
So the contract for the fleet cameras are up, the body worn cameras will be up soon. There's 2 different contracts and they're gonna expire at different times, so we've combined those, so they'll start at the same time and finish at the same time 5 years from now. Really, this is the company Axon that most police agencies throughout the country are using. Our prosecutor's office prefers that we use Axon because we can electronically push our videos up to them. And I can say that our fine attorney right here has also reviewed the contract.
I reviewed it, I approve of it, it was a fair contract, considering that Axon's biggest clients are municipalities, I thought it was well done. There's certain key provisions to look for, we can't indemnify, they didn't have that, so I was comfortable with them.
$1,800 under budget.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Seltzer, second by Solak, all in favor of
Aye.
approving the
Aye.
contract? Aye, opposed?
Thank you.
Enjoy your new stuff. All right, the next item was what I added. So this is considered prepayment of our Evergreen Farmington, that's a dash, sanitary sewer drainage district. That is the district that we participate in for our force main sewer system. The district is going through a $14 million renovation. This includes a multitude of communities in Oakland County that are part of this district. I will tell you that of the $14 million, the Village of Franklin participates in 2%, 0.2%. So we are a small fish in the big pond. This assessment that is allocated to Franklin for this work is $29,400. We have 2 choices. We have the choice of paying $29,400 right now as a one-time payment, or we have the opportunity to defer the payment over a 20-year term, at which time over those 20 years, we would spend another $37,939 in VIG, or, I'm sorry, interest.
37,000 on top of the 29?
Correct. So I need to have a motion and to approve that we prepay the full $29,400 in lieu of carrying this for the next 20 years. This money comes out of our already existing sanitary sewer fund. This is not general fund money. Our sanitary sewer fund is fairly flush and certainly can afford a $29,400 hit for capital improvements in lieu of almost double that to carry it, so,
I motion to approve.
Second.
all right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll reach out to the people that sent us this letter. I spoke to them earlier today to make sure we can still opt in. We can. We need to pay by August 6th. Chief, I'll follow up with you and Stephanie on getting that out in the next 2 weeks. The next item is, we are in the process of, beginning the process of looking for a full-time clerk. And as I mentioned earlier, I believe right now that it would be in the village's best interest to have somebody that was a full-time treasurer as opposed to a full-time economic development director right now. Whether it's a full-time treasurer or a part-time treasurer, I think that's yet to be determined. Lance, I haven't had a chance to consult with you on this. Obviously, has nothing to do with you, to the extent you can help us moving forward and through this and even be a consultant to our treasurer because of your historic knowledge. Our charter has always called for a treasurer. When the treasurer position kind of went away and other people came in to fill in more like bookkeeping type stuff in lieu of it, you took on this challenge. It's unpaid. It's out of your time. You've given us a decade, which is the equivalent of 2 full town council and 2.5 council terms. I know that this isn't something that we appreciate it. I know that you do it because you're a resident and have been a major contributor to the team, but this would also be an opportunity to take those burdens away from you. It would be something we would look at, and it's something that we're gonna investigate. So while typically and historically amongst ourselves, as you mentioned, and in our last 2 hirings of our chief and our administrator, the HR people committee's taken the lead on job postings, filtering through the initial candidate pools, whittling down that candidate pool to a pool that would warrant speaking to, did the first level of interviewing, and then either in the instance of our new chief, you brought to us 2 candidates and then said, I think the council should interview these 2 candidates, which we had an opportunity to do, and we're fortunate enough to have chief. For the administrator, it was the administrator, Meg, apparently in your guys' eyes, stood out above the other candidates, so you just made a recommendation. But the HR committee will take the lead on that again this time around. But we do sort of need to have some type of, I'm gonna have to call it a resolution, because we currently don't have that position. And I just want to have a resolution for us just to consider it right now. Let's go out there, let's see what's available, let's see whether there's a candidate that could come close to filling the shoes that Lance did in the amount of work that Lance could do, as well as having a skill set to assist us in things like budgeting and the like. So I'd like to have a motion that we approve the HR committee to consider interviewing or to consider hiring a full or part-time treasurer, obviously subject to the council's final say.
I'll make that motion.
Let's get if we're interested.
I'll second the motion.
Yeah, so let's have a discussion. If this isn't a direction that we're looking to go, that's fine. I'm not forcing this upon anyone. I can just tell you that from experience this last time around with Meg, it's a big burden on the administrator alone. And the way our office structure is set and salaries that we've already allocated, I personally feel that effort to deal with our finances over the next year and a half, as we need to get our revenues in line, are going to exceed the need for an economic development director to be here full-time, which, and I discussed this with Meg before she left, and from her experiences, she does not think that right now, with what needs to be done downtown, that warrants a full-time position. certainly something that an administrator could carry on. And like I said, if we shifted some of the financial obligations away from them. My thoughts, I open it for discussion. If we don't have a motion and a second and a support, that's fine. The committee will continue and post jobs for a full-time clerk, and we will proceed filling the other positions in the near future.
You
Go
was
ahead.
first, go ahead.
No, let's go, that's fine, go ahead, Pam.
I have a request that we not attach an either/or to the Economic Development Director or a treasurer. I think we have some salary money set aside. What we're talking about is how we spend it
That's good.
and how we staff the office.
And
I
I
think
see
it's
that.
gonna, at this early point in the game, it's gonna send a really terrible message to the Main Street people. And there was a resolution of this board that council 3.5 years ago to hire a full-time economic development director. Things may have changed, but I'd like to look at it as part of the whole and not assume that one forfeits the other.
I agree, and I thank you for that. And as I had mentioned earlier, in my scenario, there is this fourth position, which I believe could fall under a lot of capacities. And if that still evolves into an economic development director, that's, I'm not closing the door on that.
Okay, I thought I heard otherwise, so
Yeah,
thanks.
No, and that might have been how it sounded, and I guess we're talking semantics, because what we're talking about is time, and whether or not it's a full-time or a part-time job. I'm certainly not, in what I'm suggesting, implying that economic development should go away. I'm just wondering that at this time, and the issues that we're confronted with, if one was gonna be a full-time and one was gonna be a part-time, I personally believe worrying about the money coming in is more important than focusing on the downtowns. I mean, I've had dialogues, and I'll continue the dialogue about what I personally believe needs to be done as part of economic development in the village. And I apologize, I did not preface this to mean that I was thinking about phasing that out. And to the extent that offends Main Street, I apologize. It's not the intent to minimize it. I'm just concerned that and as you stated, it's been 3.5 years and we still haven't filled the position, so.
Point taken.
Right,
Yeah.
well, we've been looking too.
That was gonna be my question. Was the treasurer gonna take the spot of the assistant administrator or take the spot of the economic developer?
It's really not, it's more, like, we have this really unique situation, because right now we have an administrator who left and an administrator's salary. We have a clerk that left and a clerk's salary. We have an administrative assistant that was also serving as a part-time, as a half-time economic development director, and that salary that is now available. We also had money allocated to an economic development director that we haven't filled yet. And on top of that, we're spending about $40,000 a year to have Plant Moran do a lot of things that if we had a full-time or a part-time treasurer, they would be doing. So you throw all that together and you're talking like $460,000 of budgeted salary to go back and fill 4, 5, I don't know. I mean, it all depends what the types of talent we get and what. I can tell you that we are posting the jobs a little less than our budgeted to, one, try and recoup some of the money that you had concerns about were over budgeted. If we get candidates that warrant the higher numbers that we already have budgeted, we have the flexibility of going there with council's consent. If that's not necessary and we can still get quality individuals to fill roles, then that's part of what we discussed as the whole, that's how you save money. But I'm not suggesting anything right now as far as the final structure of what it should be. All I'm saying is, we don't have treasurer in the equation right now, and in order for us to go out considering a treasurer, I'd like some action to say, yeah, start looking for a treasurer. If we find out that the candidate pool is really shallow and that we're really just getting bookkeepers and things like that, which we've already had, then we'll say not gonna work.
Yeah, that was
But-
my question, like a vote for yes for this motion isn't a vote against an
No,
economic development director.
absolutely not, and I apologize if that's how I implied it. I'm just trying to create the ability for us as personnel to start considering a treasurer, and it's in our charter, so we probably could do it anyway, but that's not how we operate. So we want to make sure everybody understands that and get consent. And it's just an idea. I'm not asking for a new structure of government. And honestly, with that amount of money and reallocations, we could possibly have 5 people in here.
Yeah, I agree with the, like, bringing a lot of the services that Plant Moran is doing in-house, because every time they're here or they're asked to come to finance committee meeting, all I see is like money signs, money signs.
No, and they're wonderful, you know, they're wonderful contractors, and they'll continue to help us in other areas. But, yeah, whether we need to have one of them coming here and doing things that an employee could do would seem something to address, so.
And, sorry, David,
Yeah.
just for clarity, Bingham Farms is structured that way? Do they have a treasurer?
So Bingham Farms, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bingham Farms operates with a with an administrator / clerk. That they don't have a full-time clerk, and then they have a treasurer. And when we were dealing with Bingham Farms recently with some fire department stuff, and having their treasurer, Bill, come here and work with us, it was like, you know,
Yeah.
it was nice to see that there's like one, it's like all the money's in one spot.
Yeah, and so when I was looking through the description, and this actually kind of hits on how we can support, even, again, fully support economic development director, but equally, we can still support the downtown by a treasurer, right? Because one of the things that we had previously talked about was like a redevelopment district, things like that. So as I was looking at the job description, I think some of the things to consider including would be like working with Oakland County. They have a CFO, and so understanding like what are the avenues for opening up funds, what are the availability to access certain funds, having kind of more of that the understanding of municipality and funding available at both the Oakland County level and just our own municipality, as well as potentially opportunities for grant writing, I think are another things that the treasurer could fulfill.
You hit it right there on the head, and I believe that's in our treasurer, it might even be in our clerk's description, that, yes, again, grant funding for our village is something that is available. We don't get much. A lot of it could be just because we're not applying enough, and I know that a lot of it is more, you just gotta keep going and going, and the more you try, the better chance you have of getting a hit. So I agree that would be an excellent opportunity to roll grant funding and stuff like that into what would be an economic development director / treasurer, or maybe that's the way it evolves. The treasurer is an economic development director.
And so just for kind of what the next steps would be in trying to figure out whether or not it's part-time, full-time, is that how are we going to kind of land on that decision and that path forward?
So part of it is I want to research it. I apologize, before today's meeting, I had not gotten the answer from Bingham Farms as whether Bill is full-time or part-time. That would,
Yeah, so I just looked it up on my phone.
okay, yeah, thank you.
Village manager and clerk is Jamie Moore, and then village treasurer is William Payton, and then they have an assistant administrator,
Yeah.
administrative assistant.
Right. So they combine clerk and, our clerk does a lot more, we're a larger village, so so maybe then, maybe it is really a part-time job. If you're telling me Bill does as much as he did and brought as much information to the table that he did when we met with them on a part-time basis, that's great to know. David, or Rick?
Thank you, Dave. Just a thought, I mean, you're, right now you have before you the need to hire a village administrator. And you also earlier talked about having the administrator is responsible for the employees in the village offices. Might you wait a bit and get your administrator and let he or she build their team? You might find someone that comes with more financial background than perhaps Meg had. They would not need to have that, and in turn would want other capabilities within the organization. So, I mean, if you start putting the cart before the horse, I'm afraid, you know, if I was going to apply for a treasurer's job, I want to know who I'm working for, and you don't know that yet.
We've talked about some options there. It's a good point. In addition to the full or part-time consideration, we've also talked about doing this on a contract basis, as a bridge until we do hire a full-time administrator and giving them first right of refusal on, is this someone who supports my vision, is aligned with our working style, is a good fit for the village, and have them a part of that discussion. But in the meantime, you know, someone who can fulfill those duties depending on when we do actually hire an administrator. And the same would hold true, we do need a clerk. But at least giving, perhaps some wiggle room in that particular role on structure.
Yeah, that's all, just trying to go out now before you have the
Not
administrator
long,
ready.
And when we hired Meg, she came when there was already a clerk and administrator in place.
Right.
So it did.
But in this case, you have the opportunity, you really need, you're trying to find a strong person.
Our search for the administrator could be a much stronger search than the clerk treasurer, and we need to fill those roles.
And it
So
may be
if-
exciting
if
for
it
someone to come and
evolves
build
into
their
a
own team.
Contract position, that's obviously a possibility, but thanks, Rick. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to express support for the idea of exploring the treasurer idea. I think that when you look at how much time Meg just spent on the budgeting process, having just lived through that, it's a little bit concerning as to what else she was not able to get done when she's just eating, sleeping, living budget constantly. So to have someone who's focused on that, and when you add in the cost savings from not using outside accountants as much, I think it could really make sense overall. So I think it's a good idea, and it's a good way to seize this opportunity that we present ourselves with of bettering the community with how we restructure.
Okay.
She agreed with that as well, in fact, commented on it when we talked with her about this direction, and felt that the budget that we have now and the knowledge level that we all have and about the budget's a good budget right now. So we shouldn't have to spend that kind of time on it in the future. A lot of her work was remediation
Restructuring.
and restructuring
Yeah.
the budget, so
We
hopefully
definitely do
that's gonna be stable for a while. Not that it won't take time, but it won't take this much time.
I don't know if this is a relevant point to bring up now, but I do feel like there's some operational muscle we might need with this role too. And so I don't know if this falls on the shoulders of a treasurer. That person certainly will be involved in creating some structure in how they operate and repeatable processes and things that do save time because they're just easily repeatable and creating templates. But also perhaps considering someone to create some operational rigor, just in how the village operates. And I say that because of how much time Meg spent digitizing records, finding copies of things, finding some system to make those things easily accessible, and finding ways that we can measure, how are we doing? Are there ways that we can talk about accountability for each of these roles? Can we even measure those things now? Do we have the right systems in place? And so, I mean, it's something I've been thinking a lot about too. But just a thought, if we have the opportunity to hire, for instance, a part-time treasurer, if we can also have someone who spends a lot of time in creating solid structure moving forward operationally.
I agree with trustee Gates, and I actually have the compliance and risk report that we approved and reviewed in December. And a lot of my questions were on like financial controls, processes, oversight, and I think if the role is expanded, those repeatable processes that support accountability and parity would be really beneficial for the village operations.
Yeah, and this
That's a
is
good
not to
idea.
say that those things don't exist already. I trust that the budget is sound. It is not to say that in Meg's duties that those things didn't exist. It's just, we do have an opportunity to think about, you know, we've got boxes in the basement that are subject to flooding. Is that the best way to store data and records that are crucial for us to know in understanding what things we've tried or what things have been done, or just overall historical data to identify trends? So, just something to consider, just to move us into, you know, perhaps a newer way of doing things with this in mind. There are better and easier ways of managing this.
Anyone else want to discuss? So I guess I would be looking for a motion to.
Gave you the motion.
Oh, we
I
did the
second
motion?
that.
We did? Okay. Sorry for that. That was a good, long discussion. All right, so we have a motion on the table, a second to authorize the Personnel Committee to consider a full or part-time treasurer in the job search. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Again, ladies, nice job on this. We will begin we will get together again shortly with Chief and set up the process of getting this out, proper mediums to post it, finalize salary ranges, and begin the process. We also have to determine where everything's gonna come into. Heather, we might need some help with you with some website stuff, posting the postings on the website, and then creating a link for people to be able to go to get that. And then, I guess for the time being, everything should go into all applications should go to the interim administrator, and the interim administrator will circulate them to the committee as they come in. All right, good. Okay. So at our special meeting, we approved Chief serving as the acting village administrator for the next 60 days. Chief Lawson and Meg had gone through some discussions regarding kind of scoping out the role that the interim or the acting administrator would serve, as well as a suggested I guess salary increase for this interim 60-day period. Those items are reflected in an amendment to an employment agreement that Meg had prepared. Unfortunately, you've been away, so you haven't had a chance to look at this. I circulated it to everybody earlier today to look at to see if anybody had specific comments on it that we could give some direction to Peter on. And what I'd like is authority for, I agree to just at least the economic terms of this agreement. We've already agreed on, on the date, and to authorize Peter to finalize this agreement with Chief. Essentially, a simple amendment to his contract saying he's picking up new duties and he's picking up additional salary. Chief had mentioned a clause that wasn't necessary. He'll deal with that when he works with Peter. But I'd like to have a motion, if possible, to authorize Chief and Peter to finalize this and then have me get it executed once they've gotten it done.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by, well, let's do the motion. Motion by Seltzer, second by Solly. Discussion.
Yeah, I think it was section 5. Should that be 40 hours or 15 hours? I want you to not spend 40 hours doing this job, but I wasn't sure. It's like if you spend more than 40 hours, but we're only having you 15.
So after today, and thanks for the donuts. I thought that was my pay. I wasn't sure. But I would say that I'm probably going to spend at least 80% of my time here physically, though I'll be liaisoning back at the police department. But there's a great deal of work to be done in the next, 60 days. I think Heather and I realize there's probably a little bit more than we originally thought, but it's something that I think we can handle.
Okay, so it's 40 hours total, like if you end up working more. Yeah,
Well,
okay, I just
think
want to
I
make
think I'll be
sure that
working
we're
more,
like-
but I don't know what that looks like. I'm going to
Okay.
try to do most of it during the day while I'm here, yes.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that we're not like,
Something I just request that you and Peter look at is, will this be as a stipend, an extra payment, or will we be grossing up your salary to cover the additional taxes? So it depends on how you handle this, because there's pension impact, there is tax impact when we pay this, pardon? So just or are you going to just write a check? And I don't know what we're bound to.
I can discuss with Chief.
That's what I would just request, that you take an extra look at that, because
He's
there's
an
some
employee,
financial
so
issues.
We're obligated to withdraw the taxes and payroll taxes and everything.
Yeah,
My original thought was we would just spread it over that 60-day period every 2 weeks.
that's fine.
Okay.
Chief, and as paragraph 5 is, as a contract lawyer, is basically an agreement to agree. The point I think of that paragraph is, you let us know.
yeah. that's
To the
fine.
extent this becomes more than you had anticipated and you feel that you're getting the short end of the deal, we're receptive to that, okay? We want you as our chief, much more so than we want you as our interim administrator. This is something you're doing to really help us out.
Sure.
And we didn't want it to become a burden, a financial liability, or, you know, a problem for your family. So if any of those items arise throughout the course of this, you let us know, and we'll react accordingly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Look at
Thank you.
section 5.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so, are we good with this?
Well, we haven't had a motion in a second.
Yep,
Did we
right.
approve it?
No, we haven't voted yet. So we have a motion, a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Last item. So, and Lance, I'm gonna talk to you about this. A lot of this depends on your availability, but historically, you've been able to sign checks, but could you sign a check if you were asked to? I didn't think so. So, one of the reasons that we're taking you off is in order for us to get on, everybody who is still on has to come. So to save you from meeting us there tomorrow, we're just gonna take you off, and it didn't seem appropriate to have you there anyways. So, I've been dealing with our bank, trying to figure out a way that we can get checks signed, because as it stands right now, whatever we have, 9 bank accounts, have Megan, Dana, and Lance as the only people that can sign a check. And as it stands, 2 of them don't work for us and 1 of them can't. And in order to just show up at a bank and say, hey, just change our bank accounts, let me start signing checks, doesn't really go over so well. So that they've asked for a resolution, which we still might even have to further document after this. I don't know if I'm gonna have to get a hold of the county and get a copy of the tape to see that I really am the David Goldberg that this resolution reflects. But they've asked that we prepare a resolution that, in the first instance, has Megan Schubert, Dana Hughes, and Lance Vanek removed as signatories, and then to add Chief Lawson and myself on as the signatories. Just so everybody understands how our process works, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a three-headed process. In order for a check to ever leave this office, one person has to enter it in, the second person has to approve it, and the third person has to sign it, essentially. So, being that we're gonna keep Chief, we're putting Chief on the account for purposes of emergency, but since Chief will probably be involved in the process of entering, and then someone like Heather or Stephanie would be approving, that would leave only one person now to sign, that would be me. So I'll be the person that comes in and signs the checks after the 2 of you have generated them and they've gone through the protocols. Obviously, as we move forward with bringing employees in, we'll start trading employees back in for myself, but my schedule allows it, and that's why we're doing this, so that we can start paying bills, hopefully by tomorrow. We're gonna go and take care of this tomorrow. I'm hoping it's done instantaneously, but certainly by Wednesday. So, they're asking for a formal resolution. I prepared one earlier today. I apologize if I've suggested everyone was gonna approve it, and didn't know who would second it. We would have this, I sent this to Heather, so after today's meeting, if we approve this, we'll fill in the blanks, and, I've also asked that it be signed by Pam as the president pro tem, because I didn't think it would look good if one of the persons who was being the signatories showed up as one of the signers. So I'm asking you to sign on this resolution so that it's even
Sure.
2
I
independent
don't
people.
know, I need to think about it, but, yeah.
Right, so if not, then I would ask that we delegate somebody as part of this motion to sign on as a second signator, so that the bank doesn't see me approving myself as.
I'd be happy
the
to do
signer.
it.
I'll second.
just want to, can I clarify just one
Yeah.
thing, just so that everyone's comfortable? Is that I will receive the invoices, I will code the invoices, and then Plant Moran will come in.
Oh, I'm
He'll
sorry,
actually
you're right.
enter it into
You're right.
BSNA.
Bethany's doing that. I'm
And
sorry.
then President Goldberg will sign the checks.
I totally apologize, that's right, we had pre-planned, that burden's not on you guys. Bethany was gonna come in, continue doing that, she would be the second eyes on it. But
Oh,
since,
she's the coder?
no, he's the coder, she's the enterer, I'm the signer.
She does the QA on the code that you assign.
She'll put it into BSNA, which is our financial
Good.
He
platform.
he allocates it to the proper fund, she enters it, cuts the check, I
Okay.
sign the check, so
Okay.
that's the,
Okay, thank you.
Clarification, there's two separate ones, and you have the motion by Goldberg, and the second by, and that would be the removal of Megan, Dana, and Lance. Who seconds that one? Or are we done now? It went so fast,
actually, so, yeah, we'll fix it, actually, so we're gonna retype this. It was actually a motion by Seltzer and a second by Sulaka.
For which one?
For the first one, which was to remove Megan, yeah, just to remove. Let's do that one first. So we have a motion to consider removal of Megan Schubert, Dana Hughes, and Lance Vanek as the signatories on all of our bank accounts at First Merchants Bank. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. The second motion is to add David Goldberg and Kurt Lawson to all the bank accounts held at First Merchants Bank in Bloomfield Hills.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Seltzer, second by Sulaka again. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We will be able to start paying the bills again. 8:15? Not bad, guys. Not bad. Not bad, because I was hoping we'd be able to spend a couple minutes on this. So the last item is,
David, real quick before
Oh,
we
I'm
get to
sorry.
last, do we need to do anything with the, write-up around the village clerk? Or are we good?
We're good.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
send, it's, yeah, we're chartered on, but you guys
if you
can
have
send
comments, we,
The only thing that I have just fits the same theme that we've been going through, which adding, like drafting of policies and procedures to get more structure in.
do me a favor, shoot
Yeah, we'll do.
shoot Abby. Abby's kind of been the scrivener.
Perfect.
So shoot Abby your comments. That was why I circulated them for
Yeah,
comments.
yeah, makes
So if
sense.
anybody has comments, send them to either Abby or myself or Pam. We'll get them all to Abby and try and get them incorporated.
Perfect.
That was reason why I circulated. I didn't really want to burden today's meeting with comments.
Yep.
But we have not started the process yet, and we'll wait, to give everybody an opportunity to reach out. If you're gonna give us comment, just shoot in it, an email, hey, I wanna give you a comment, I might not get to it for a day or so, just so that she knows to
Yeah.
look for it.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, so, I think it was 2 meetings ago, our infrastructure committee brought to us some ideas regarding stop sign locations, crosswalk locations. There were also some stuff on 13 Mile Road. And since then, they've wanted to continue to dialogue forward. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think at the time being, we decided to sort of separate out 13 Mile Road, which is sort of out of our control and requires Oakland County to be involved and probably requires some additional improvements that we couldn't necessarily get done right away. So rather than bog down the whole process, we chose to pull out the stuff that we control here in Franklin. So, Infrastructure Committee has got proposals for 4 different locations for adding a new stop sign and 4 locations for a crosswalk. One of them is the same place to kind of, I guess, get an idea of one or the both or which. So, I don't know who prepared this. I don't know if this was prepared by the Infrastructure Committee or Heather did this.
Yeah, it was, I prepared it.
Oh, good job. This is really helpful. So I'm gonna turn to our Infrastructure Committee. If either one, Dan, you wanna take the lead on this? That's
Sure.
great. Explain to us how you got here and what you're generally asking for.
Yes, thank you. So we've been working on 3 main items on infrastructure committee, as trustee Goldberg just mentioned. The first one I'd like to address is the stop sign crosswalk initiative. This was based on resident input, so thank you so much to all the residents who spoke out in support of adding additional stop signs. We certainly care a great deal about safety in the village. That's what this initiative is all about here. We received some particular complaints about some sensitive issues here off of 14 Mile. And if you can see, what we have here really are some pretty long straightaways where there's no stop sign on Wing Lake and on Romsey coming south off of 14. And these are almost a third of a mile, if not more, that's just a straightaway. And so I think it's really tempting for people to get a little bit carried away with themselves going down these strips here. And so we propose the stop signs in red at the intersection of Wing Lake and Suzanne. And you may remember we had one resident who actually came in and specifically spoke to us about the point of concern there. And so certainly we're responsive to that feedback. And I frequently run down that area too, so I'm quite familiar with it and can understand the concern there. And just so people are aware too, there is already a stop sign if you're headed west on Suzanne at Wing Lake, but there's no stop sign if you're going south on Wing Lake or north on Wing Lake. And so that's the issue. And so what we're proposing is to turn this into a three-way stop so that the Wing Lake traffic would stop at Suzanne too and break up that straightaway. And then moving along to the next one, on Romsey, it's similar in that there already is a stop sign on Denison if you're heading eastbound, but there's just the long straightaway down Romsey that I think it would be sensible to break up with a stop sign at about the halfway point there on Denison. I note that this would also be consistent with the Watley-Denison intersection, which is a four-way stop, and so I think it would make sense to make Romsey and Denison also having all traffic have to stop at that intersection. So that's the proposal on this little segment. And then unless we have questions about either of those, yes, please.
Actually do. So I live on Wing Lake, and I'm curious, did you talk to the neighbors? Did you actually do a survey of the residents that live along Wing Lake Road, besides talking to Rebecca Bemis, who was the lady that was here? I know she lives right near where that red dot is, but I'm curious, who else did you talk to?
We didn't do a survey.
Oh, I thought you said that you had talked to the people. You had talked to a number of residents.
We had talked to residents, but you asked for a survey. We didn't do a survey.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Did you talk to the residents in any shape or form along Wing Lake Road?
Yeah, we talked to residents on Wing Lake Road.
Oh, I'm one of them. So who else,
No, I didn't
who else
talk
did
to
you
you about
talk to?
Well, we're bringing this up to discuss it now. But what was your, I mean, we're open to input.
No,
That's why
I'm
we
just
brought it up.
curious because,
You don't think it's needed, or?
no, I'm not saying that. You said, I'm interested in what people along the street think. The cops know about the problem families on the road. And there's another problem along that road. I'm not opposed to the stop sign, but one of the other problems that we identified when Miss Bemis was here was that the visibility on that intersection is terrible. And I believe that Meg and David were making arrangements to.
So, yeah, we did.
have that
We
cut.
had the corner, that northeast corner cut back to recognize the clear vision triangle.
It's really swampy and nasty
But
there, yeah.
it grows back pretty quickly. And the street sign, which also made it difficult to know that the intersection was even there, was buried in an overhanging deciduous tree and then two large branches from a pine tree. So those were also removed,
Okay.
cut back.
Yeah.
So that now when you're driving southbound on Wing Lake Road, you can at least see the stop sign, see the street sign, to know that there's a street there.
Yeah,
I lived on Romsey as well for a
Yeah,
decade,
yeah.
like you, at the part where the traffic was going by, not where the stop signs are.
yeah,
And yes, Romsey's a heavily traveled road.
Yeah.
It's the main entry road along with Wing Lake.
yeah,
Depending if you live in the Suzanne neighborhood or anywhere along River, you usually come in one of those two
yeah.
ways. So, work was done already at that intersection, The Dennison intersection definitely should have that northwest corner trimmed back, because that's a complete
Yeah, it
blind
is.
spot.
I know, yeah.
You come down Dennison and you literally have to stop, trickle your nose out, trickle your nose out, trickle your nose out. And Ramsey's coming at a weird angle, because you could see Dennison like curves down away, so you're like, cars kind of like this, and you're like looking back like that. So it's definitely, that also is a challenging intersection. I would like to see it trimmed back, to see what effect that has, but I don't rule out the idea of a stop sign there.
You what?
I don't rule it out, the idea.
Yeah, so, and I'm not trying to challenge you guys, but I'm actually challenging you. So we know that the problems are, based on Rebecca Bemis's comments, people walk the streets a lot, especially at night. And the objective is to cut down on speeding, is that right?
I think she mentioned is there something about coming around a corner on Suzanne and?
Yeah, it's a little hill, the visibility's
It's like a
really hard.
blind
if you
spot.
walk.
A lot of
Yeah.
people will drive down Wing
Yeah.
Lake towards River and completely drive past Suzanne and have to slam on their brakes, like, oh, there's the
You
street.
have to be careful, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
And it pitches a little bit too.
yeah. So a stop sign will solve the problem of speeding, do you think? Is it speeding or is it visibility that we're trying to solve for?
Well, I think it's both of those things, and I
Okay.
think a stop sign would help to break it up so that people don't get so carried away with themselves.
Okay.
With regard to speed going down Wing Lake.
Okay,
And there's also lots of kids in that neighborhood. There's a little creek there at like Wing Lake and Suzanne.
yeah, I know.
Kids
about
go
it, yeah.
fishing, crawfishing. There's
Mhm.
another family that lives on like Suzanne where that bend is. They have young kids.
Mhm.
I've walked up and down Wing Lake when I knock doors.
Mhm.
Everyone said there's an issue with speeding. If I didn't actually realize till you pulled this up, thank you, trustee Ferris, but like the straightaways make sense of why it's speeding, now that you look at it from a satellite point of view.
Yeah.
It's easy to speed on it, but, I mean, you have firsthand experience. Do you feel like cars are speeding, or are they going?
Well, there's a couple of problems. It is a long stretch of road, and there are a couple of neighbors that regularly violate the speed limits. The other frankly problem area is along River Drive. There is a three-way stop there, and people regularly blow through it because it's a wide-open intersection and they just go through it. I don't think I've seen people actually stop there more than a dozen times in several years. So I appreciate the diligence on this one. My question, I think my other question for the chief is, so what criteria would you normally recommend we as a council use to determine whether or not a stop sign is warranted in any particular instance? I'm sensitive to the concerns of the families and want to support them, but I'm also curious about what criteria do we use for this sort of decision?
And before Chief answers that, I meant to acknowledge Chief and thank Chief also for attending
Yeah.
our meeting and
Uh-huh.
providing some input on this already, but please, Chief Lawson.
Sure. So I don't think there's any hard and fast criteria of what we look at. I know we had officers out on Ramsey looking for speeders, and when they were out there physically, they didn't notice it. But to me, when I went out there and took a look at it, and I'm really glad they cut that greenery back on Dennison, a stop sign would make sense to me. And the same with on Wing Lake and Suzanne. So we certainly have no objection to that.
Okay, thank you for that. That matters to me.
So real quick, Pam, I think you and I probably have similar sentiment on this, which is like, if we're looking at stop signs to remove, or to not remove, it's not gonna solve the removal of blind spots, but to address blind spots compared to speeding.
Yeah.
To me, that's significantly more compelling, because I think the opportunity, one, the opportunity to speed is anywhere, and two, I think most studies, and I think even historically when we've done studies, that stop signs don't do a great job of solving the speeding necessarily. But I do think in each of these instances that you've identified, those blind spots are very material.
Just to, along these lines, I live at Stuart Wooders. I live on Franklin Park Drive, and I live at the intersection. It's a four-way stop. And when my child was in elementary school, I had neighbors, as it turns out, blowing through the stop sign and past the bus while he's getting on the bus. So as much as I really appreciate having a stop sign where I live, it still doesn't correct behavior of individuals. I thought it was construction workers or people that, people that are visiting. And when I reported Chief Roberts, I sent him video of this, and we had our police reacted immediately. They came out and sat there for a while, and that's when I found it was my neighbors, because he's like, all I'm doing is pulling over your neighbors, and so it is a problem. I appreciate the idea. I think we're addressing things that are concerns. I just hope there's a way we can correct behavior and not. And if this is a means to correct behavior, that's great. But unfortunately, drivers are drivers, and not everyone obeys traffic laws the way that they're designed to save lives. They're not meant to slow everyone down. They're meant to make people pause and think to make sure they're in a safe situation. So that's part of the addressment that we need to consider, is how are we also helping to encourage our neighbors to respect our children on the roads and the walkers, because people walk by my house all day long.
In fact, Stuart, I was involved in that Franklin Park Drive issue, as you recall, a couple years ago. And at that point, we put in a speed clock. And it was Chief Roberts' adamant determination that a stop sign wasn't warranted.
Oh, no,
and
this
that
is
in fact-
further up, though.
Yours is, yeah.
This is Mountain View and Franklin Park Drive, not.
All right, well, anyway,
not
his
River
point was
Road.
that he was of the belief that putting in stop signs actually encourages people to run them. And so I'm glad to hear that Chief Lawson has reviewed this material, because I have no interest in doing anything unless our chief of police agrees that it's logical and the right course of action.
I think when you look at Denison and you go out there and physically look at it, that's a tough intersection, somewhat dangerous, I'd say. And certainly Suzanne, if you hear the complaints about people cutting the corner when they're going southbound Wing Lake and then eastbound Suzanne, they're really cutting that corner, and you can actually see the tire marks in the roadway.
Yeah.
So I think that would be valid to put stop signs there.
We got
I know
pictures
Mark,
of the tire.
I know Mark wants to say something, so.
I've lived in this neighborhood for multiple years. I mean, if you're gonna start doing them there, you need to throw one at River and Watley, and at Denison and Redfern. They fly down Denison. There is a stop sign at Redfern and Denison, and more than once. They don't stop for the one on Redfern crossing Denison. No. I mean,
That's not
they
a
could,
great
they could,
argument
they
for
could write their tickets.
That's
Huh?
not a very appealing argument for stop signs.
No, but I'm just saying, Dan ran a study with HRC years ago. We spent a ton of money on that, and they felt that these were, let the officers do what they do, park them. I mean, when they started parking on River Drive and Watley, they took care of the issue for a while. And it was residents.
It's
90% of this stuff. Huh?
Right.
You can fix our revenue issues, just put them out there, ticket them. Nobody's stopping.
We don't have enough officers to do that.
But the other thing is,
We don't.
at Denison and Romsey, that should be cut back, and at Watley, if you're gonna do that at Denison. Those are two blind corners.
Yeah.
I mean, so we might wanna look at, see what he thinks on River and Watley, and maybe Denison, to split that long run. Because they come down from Watley or Romsey, and they fly down through there. They fly up Redfern, but we know who that is. Pam
So do they,
knows who it is too.
but the cops know that's more important.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think your point is, and actually support what Mark's saying, we live there. And I'm not sure how you make a decision to put a stop sign at one intersection and what criteria you use in order to be fair or treat fair meaning evenly all the other problems in an area. And one reason I'm pushing back on anecdotes a little bit is because I think there's problems, the people drive too fast along Wayne Lake Road. I recognize the problem, but there are also equally severe problems in that neighborhood that Mark just pointed out, and I would just ask that you take a look, and the infrastructure committee take a look at the whole picture while you're responding to individual corners and families that live in pockets of the community. That's what I would be asking.
And there are stretches throughout the community that are like mini freeways. And the only way to really address this is speed bumps. You know, we have them in Arizona, and that's the only way you can control people.
Beverly Hills
In
has been
certain
putting,
areas.
Beverly Hills is putting them on Saxon.
I know.
And it's slow. I've got friends that
I
live
hate
over
it.
there,
I hate
and
it.
that slowed that right down.
I hate them, but they work.
Again, back to what, you know, I was saying, as well as it sounds like the feedback from Chief Lawson, is it's not necessarily, the material thing in the consideration is not whether or not we can curb speeding, it is the sightlines.
Agreed, 100%. I personally agree 100%. I am not looking at any of these intersections from the standpoint of curbing speeding. Speeding occurs between stop signs, not at stop signs, and all the stop sign's gonna do is slow someone down. We've asked, and again, Chief Lawson might have a different philosophy on it. When we used to ask Chief Roberts about it, the response was, more stop signs just tend to make people want to speed in between them more because they're aggravated with the stop signs coming up. So I like the stop signs more from the standpoint of the lack of visibility, because that creates a dangerous intersection. And to the extent that somebody can have an accident because they have to creep out into the intersection, or they're turning out of an intersection and somebody coming on the oncoming street doesn't even know that there's an intersection there, that creates an accident, I think is far more likely to occur than the God forbid situation where someone's speeding down the street and we have a collision with a human being, which would be the worst situation. But every single road in the village of Franklin, on top of every single road in the world, is confronted with that problem of speeding and interacting with pedestrians. So unless we can get some more empirical data that stop signs in some of these situations we're gonna really curb speeding, I personally am looking at it more from the standpoint of how are we saving collisions and eliminating dangerous situations. And to the extent, and both of these here are situations where there's dangerous situations, weird alignments, blind spots. Yes, I'm not sure where infrastructure's asking us to do right now. Are we having a discussion now? Are you asking us to bring this, like, do you want us to take action on this? In which case, I would prefer we have to do it kind of on an item-by-item basis. Or are we gonna just have a discussion today for you guys to describe all of these to us? I have had this, because I was included in this, I apologize, this sort of didn't get included in the packet, so some of you might not have seen it till today. I've driven all of these for the last week or so. Each day, I've been going on bike rides, analyzing these intersections. So if we just want to have a discussion on these today and take action in August, then we can do that. If there's some of these here where you really feel that you need immediate action and consideration, we can certainly do it, but we'll be doing so in some instances where some of us might not have had a chance to fully vet it out. So why don't you continue with your presentation, because it looks like we've only gotten to the first page. And so why don't you go through each of these, explain each of these to us, and then we can decide at that point whether anyone wants to take action on any of these specifically, or whether the majority of us feel that they need more time to do their own researching, which can only be done by actually going out there and visually seeing these situations. We are regularly supposed to have our, landscaping contractor cutting back intersections. I'm guessing they're a little back on it this year. I know that the storm 2 weeks ago had them busy, but, the first step could be having the cutback done at these intersections during the course of the next month, before our next meeting, so that we can see the situation. There's also what we've used in the past, which are, before we commit to a full-time stop sign, put up a temporary stop sign, and then see if it's if it's having any value. But kind of just want to make sure I understand where we're ultimately going with this today. And if it's more of a, let's discuss all these and get them all out there, then I'm gonna ask you guys to Dan to keep proceeding and explain each of these to us. And if we want to take action, let's do it at the end rather than each one as we go through it, because I kind of like to hear it in totality.
All right, well, thank you. I'll continue on then. So the next one, if we could go to the next page, please. Thank you.
Is that sufficient right there?
Yep.
I think that looks good. So what we're proposing here is a stop sign on Franklin Park at the Riverwood intersection. And similar idea as the last ones. You've got a long stretch here on Franklin Park. You've got a number of homeowners who live on Riverwood too, so you've got the intersection of two fairly long streets coming together there. So I don't know if people have additional comments or anything else to add.
There's a stop sign on Riverwood, correct? West, southwest bound?
Yep.
Yeah. But there's no stop sign on either east or west Franklin Park Drive?
Correct.
Right.
This is your HUD, Stuart.
Yeah, no, so this is a good one to actually add back. I don't know why they got rid of it in the first place, because it's a blind curve. So,
It's like a similar topography of the other ones that we showed.
So this is one where there was a stop sign,
was a
and
stop
they took
sign,
it away, and
HRC removed
residents
it.
asked to put it back, and we chose not.
and everyone on Riverwood wrote a letter to council and
No,
said,
we got a lot of, we got a lot
yeah,
of.
so
input on that.
this makes sense.
Okay,
Okay.
That one's
So if I can
self-explanatory.
move along. Next page, please.
And blue are crosswalks, correct?
That's right. Oh, can we put the next page on the screen, please? Thank you.
focus just on the stop sign right now, and then we'll circle back to it.
Is that sufficient right there?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is the last stop sign, okay.
Yeah, so this is the last stop sign at Brandingham and Wellington. And then we also, on the same page, and there's one a little bit farther down, if you could scroll down a little bit. Yeah, I think you can, yeah, if you zoom out a little bit there, you can
perfect.
catch all of them, okay. And so this is another idea we had with regard to crosswalk signs, and where we started thinking about this was right along the Village Green here, and this just being such a high pedestrian traffic area. But we also recognize that having too many stop signs too close together doesn't make sense either. So in trying to balance this and get it right, we thought it was a good idea to put in crosswalk signs, and in particular at Normandy and Wellington, you just have a lot of people for various events on the Village Green, baseball events at the church, the park area there, who are pedestrians walking along Normandy. And we didn't think putting a full-blown stop sign there was necessary because it's just so close to Franklin Road. But to have a crosswalk sign to just alert drivers, be mindful, we thought that would make sense there. And then we also, and I'm interested maybe for a little bit more feedback from Chief on this one too, continuing down the road, traveling westbound at Brandingham, we thought about a stop sign or potentially a crosswalk sign there as well. And I know, to have a crosswalk, you have to have a connecting going either way. So the crosswalk would have to go across Brandingham if we were to put one there. And so I don't know if Chief, you think a stop sign makes more sense there?
I certainly think the Normandy and the Wellington crosswalk make a lot of sense to me from all the activity that you have on the green, like you stated. There is a stop sign right now at Wellington and Carroll. I have actually sat there myself quite a few times, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are blowing through those stop signs. People stop. It's great to see. I'm not convinced about the crosswalk on Brandingham. I would have no issues with a stop sign there.
So Sorry, the blue are pedestrian proposals, so you're saying where the blue overlaps the red, just keep the red? Yeah.
Somebody needs
I'd
to
have no
explain to me
objection.
how a crosswalk works on a three-way intersection, because you're not crossing anything, you're just walking yourself to the other side of the road.
I think the problem with that intersection is it's very blind, like there's.
So, I
way
agree,
overlap.
I drive, Mike's probably right there with me, I drive Wellington 15 times a day, going back and forth. It's the only way you can get to my house if you don't wanna drive on 14 Mile Road. That is a horribly blind corner. To me, that is, and I was just there yesterday and actually talking to residents that were walking by the intersection. There's probably 300 feet where we could take about 2.5 feet of brush. The back of curb, there's brush and then a ditch. And we've got what should have been, at one point, grass has grown into weeds, which have grown into trees to separate the road and the ditch. Personally, before trying to have people stopping at that intersection on Wellington, when the issue that we're trying to protect is people that are, because you are told to walk towards traffic. And when you're doing the right thing at that intersection and walking to traffic, if someone's driving in the right lane, driving totally legally, I have to go like that around someone, and the people are looking at you like, hey, jerk, you almost killed me. And it's like, no, I'm just driving on the road. You just happen to be in a total blind spot. So I personally think for that intersection is another one where let's get Jerry out there with his crew like this week and just cut back 300 feet, that whole big sweeping curve where everybody that's walking on Wellington doing the right thing is jeopardizing themselves. And literally everybody, right as you start coming up, people start inching their way across. And now you find yourself in the middle of the road as someone's coming around the curve because you're trying to avoid the oncoming traffic, trying to go on the other side of the road. So, at least as far as this one goes, I'm a big advocate of a cutback before we throw up a stop sign, but now that we're done with the stop signs, so one of the things was, because two of these had potential crosswalks, or maybe it was just this one. A crosswalk into nowhere makes sense, doesn't make sense. Can someone explain what your thoughts are at Woodlawn? Only because, not that it's horrible, I mean, it's at the bottom of the hill, but that's a major crossover point. What I'm trying to figure out is, it's a pied we've got the pie. Were you thinking of like picking one of the two to do the crosswalk on? Having to come to the, what do you call the
crypt?
The crypt, and have it start at the crypt and have one line across? Or were we thinking of one from Woodlawn and one from
So we always have.
Nottingham?
What, 80% of the time we have a cop right there. We have a police officer right there.
Oh, Hawthorne and Woodlawn, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do we do at, I can't remember if it's Scenic or, there is a crosswalk already on Franklin Road, and I think it's to Scenic.
It's scenic.
It's, yeah.
People
Correct, but it
blow
crosses-
by that.
but it crosses to
I
a
walk it
sidewalk.
every day.
Yeah,
There's not one from 13 Mile all the way to St. Eric.
right. There is
Woodlawn is a huge crossover. He lives right on that corner too, if you have any. Yeah. Do you have any input on that? I mean, you see.
Well,
He's that big house.
so again, steps 26101 Woodlawn Road. So it's two houses over from what you're discussing. There's all the, it's a major crossing point. You got more people, bicyclists, people with dogs walking than what you have up at Scenic, I'm pretty sure. And you have all kinds of things. You have a colleague of you there sitting for 80%, talking about budget, that might help a little bit. It's the 20% when he's not there, typically.
Yeah.
When he's there, it's comical, 2 or 3 minutes, and then he's going after one. I was told under 40 miles an hour, there's no tickets, but anyhow. But there's other things, I go southbound, try to turn left into Franklin Road. A guy behind passes me right in this intersection. Because people passing through, they don't like it when you do 25 miles an That's another problem. But it's a major crossing point. I have a little boy. I would feel much more comfortable, and it's the momentum people have down there. Another word to Scenic Drive. It happened a couple times that people don't even see that there's a crosswalk. You stand, you make a step in, the dog already gets in, somebody blows by. Because they come up the hill, there's this strange sign, a vertical sign, that there's a crosswalk, which I don't even think, vehicle drivers, they recognize that. And so I feel, if you look at all our crosswalks, they're not really pretty well.
So that's what we're looking at, and I don't know if we really explained it to everybody and everybody who's listening at home. When we're discussing a crosswalk and how we're differentiating it from a stop sign, where we would put a stop sign is obviously like a stop sign. You, when you're a driver, have to stop every single time you're driving at that intersection. So it is a permanent endeavor. What we're contemplating at these crosswalks are putting in striping so that there's a clear walking area. And then instead of what is at Scenic, which is, I agree, these two sticks on the side of the road that nobody sees, is implementing at these intersections what we have on Franklin Road, which are those kind of bobbing signs that literally say, and by state law, you're obligated to stop, but only if someone is in the crosswalk or about to enter the crosswalk. So we're not stopping traffic every single time a car drives through the intersection, but you as a driver have a duty to pay attention when you see that flopping sign in the crosswalk paint to look for a pedestrian, no different than what's on 14 Mile Road when you're trying to cross over. That one obviously has a light in lieu of a light, because you're not going to drop a sign like that in the middle of that fast of a traveling road. We've put them on Franklin Road. If there are other places like Scenic where we could also add them where we already have crosswalks, it's obviously just a cost. It doesn't really hurt anything. It sits in between the yellow lines. It gets hit on occasion by big trucks, and it looks like the ones that we've now invested in that have the little bobber take the hit a lot better.
Stephanie found a great crosswalk sign that actually, will collapse and pop back up. That's already been hit a couple times, but it's popped back up. There's no damage to it.
So it's currently outside the post office?
Right across, yep.
Okay.
Right. So that, just so everyone knows, when we contemplate a crosswalk, that's what we're contemplating. A stripe, a sign in the middle of the road that by law, and if you blew through that, a police officer could give you a ticket, no different than had you gone through a regular stop sign. But we're only using it for the purposes of helping pedestrians and not creating a permanent stop. The intersection at Normandy, I completely support a crosswalk there. I don't see a stop sign. You could land an airplane in that intersection, so there's no issue of seeing cars or visibility or anything. But that is the number one area closest to get to the Village Green, and it does not, it makes sense to stop a car so that, as you had indicated, your daughter or whomever could be crossing by. So I want to make sure we understand the difference between the
Just
two.
that I can
Thank you.
sit back down there.
Yeah,
So
thank you for your
that
comments.
Woodlaw, I think it's more about slowing the traffic down, a yellow blinking light, whatever. These temporary signs, for us, it's a bit of a joke in the car because they're there, they're not there. I'm just worried if the truck takes them out and there's none of the signs, and then your kid walks over and people don't see it. A good marking does a lot, and I love speed bumps, by the way.
So, just the infrastructure committee, Meg did some research on high visibility crosswalks, and the cost was like upwards of 20,000. So before we did that, we were thinking, what's a low cost, effective way to see?
What do you call high visibility, like flashing lights, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we all discussed, like, what could we do to enhance safety, still encourage connectivity, and minimize cost to the village? And so that's why this proposal's on the table.
Crosswalks serve that well.
Yeah, but to his point, if in fact, like, the bounce back is just not working, it seems to work at the post office because people are stopping and realize you're in a downtown where you're gonna have, when you have sidewalks. But to me, this is like a natural progression of more people being outside because we have sidewalks. So like, this is the right time to do this, because now that we have been 2 years in the sidewalks, we realize people are out more, people are walking more, people are still driving like there are no sidewalks. So like, I think it was important to bring this up now, because, 3 years ago, you probably weren't having as many people, outside. And I appreciate the input from the residents, and all of these locations have been just, basically plotted here, so it's like a great visual. So thank you, Trustee Ferris, because I think it adds a lot to the conversation and enriches it.
So there's one more. Heather, will you go to the last one? Because the last one, I need some information on the thought process here. So,
So on this one,
Yeah.
to speak to it, it's quite a curve there, especially coming southbound on Franklin. And for the cars are coming around the corner, and then there's this intersection there. And so I think it's a dangerous spot. The visibility is bad. And for the people who live on Greenbrier, this is a natural place for them to walk.
I would never walk on 13 Mile, or on Franklin Road there.
Yeah, not on 13, but to be able to
South,
cross,
yeah.
to be able to safely cross if you're on Greenbrier, either North Greenbrier or South Greenbrier.
Yeah, I just mean Franklin Road is
Oh, yeah.
super dangerous.
Yeah, so we're hoping that this would help improve the safety there, and just, a lot of car traffic, they might not even be aware that there's a street there, be anticipating it at all when they're coming around that corner, and so this would give people the heads up, oh, like, I need to look out as I'm coming down the road here around this bend.
okay, so here are my thoughts on this one. I've been to it a couple times now, and when I'm trying to get my hands around what everyone's thinking is, when you're coming southbound, most particularly on Franklin Road, about to come around that bend, if you don't have some level of warning, this might be one where like you need the flashing light. Because if you don't have the flashing light and you come around that corner at 35, 40 miles an hour, and you have people crossing there with the expectation that they're crossing safely, and we're gonna rely on a little flapping sign in the middle of Franklin Road to slide those people down, it's gonna be, we're just setting up problems. Just so the world knows, this is probably, in my opinion, one of the highest possible, would serve really help a neighborhood situation, and would eliminate the possibility of having to run sidewalk from that blue dot all the way to Franklin Road to service a few people. Right where South Greenbrier Road is, you see that long driveway. One person owns that driveway, and that connects right to the Jensten property on the other side, right where the Franklin Museum is. And that, to me, if we could convince any of those owners to allow an easement up their driveway so that we could put in one of our Irving Drive pedestrian crossings. In my years on planning, to me, that was the highest, and with that one and the one in Suzanne.
Suzanne, cutting through to Telegraph.
Cutting through
yeah.
Suzanne would create huge opportunities and allow a significant number of residents to get towards downtown safely without having to cross at Greenbrier, South Greenbrier, North Greenbrier, which is for sure a dangerous condition. Having to have people that live way over on South Greenbrier having to go backwards all the way to North Greenbrier, and then backwards farther to Kincardine, and then work your way all the way back around Woodside just to get to 13 Mile Road to start heading downtown is a horrible endeavor. So this, I think, is this whole area here needs to be addressed. And it's the cost of sidewalks on Franklin Road versus figuring out a way to get a pedestrian pathway, as well as what is the safest way to cross Franklin Road. So, not sure we could get an answer on this. What I'm wondering is what can we put in place to help gather data? Is it it's not even a speeding thing. It's literally an alignment. It is so poorly, like, if you tried to get this intersection approved today with MDOT or the Oakland County Road Commission, they would never allow that intersection to be at that curvature there. But this one is one we have to definitely think about.
Sorry, so I just pulled up Meg's email on my phone. She said the high-intensity activated crosswalk, which is called the Hawk signal, I misspoke, it's estimated cost of $200,000, plus $20,000 for design and implementation.
So the Hawk system that she discussed is 200,000, and that's the one that's actually enforceable.
Like
The flashing
big
yellow lights,
picture.
there's no enforcement of that.
Oh, there isn't. I was wrong. So it's on the little flopping thing, you don't have the right to write a ticket.
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I'm not explaining that well, but I think that when they put the high-intensity lights at the crosswalk, and it can turn red, okay, that's when we can enforce it. The yellow flashing lights.
Oh,
doesn't
gotcha,
work,
gotcha,
so-
gotcha.
And I think you hit the
So
nail on the
Hawk is
head.
like on Orchard Lake Road up in Sylvan Lake where
The
it
really big
stops,
ones,
like, it stops traffic if
Right.
you can cross on the train track. old
I would
train
have a
track.
lot of concern, and I drove that, is the southbound Franklin, is that you're making that turn and that you would just have the crosswalk right
Right
there.
there.
You would have no time.
You'd have no
It's
time.
difficult.
Unfortunately, that might be the answer, is we're gonna probably just have to put the sidewalk in. Now, maybe the sidewalk's only on one side of the road, and we have a crossing point over where, it says Purity. Because, I mean, what do we have on that west side of Franklin Road there? There's three
Yeah.
houses?
5, on west side, you have 3 up
Didn't
at
your-
Dare, and you have, and then you have
Didn't your brother-in-law
one-
live up
Yeah,
over
that-
there?
Adair
Yeah.
Court.
Yeah.
Third Court, which is
On the
that
Dare
little
Court, yeah.
line between,
Yeah,
yeah, I have 3 nieces and nephew that live on, right at that intersection, right at that curve, and, even turning onto Adair, they've been passed on the left, turning left
Yeah.
onto Adair.
for sure. Oh, yeah, coming this way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I know runners on Franklin Road, and then even last meeting, we had some feedback from people that lived at McKinney that were concerned. So, I mean, I don't think Dan finished his presentation, but we were saying we're gonna try to take chunks, like 13 mi, you said
Yeah.
it, 13 miles is gonna be like a separate beast.
Yeah, and-
Because that intersection does have to involve Oakland County.
And this one might fall into where it's already been demarcated as just sidewalks on Franklin Road might just have to be the answer. All right, how do you want us to proceed? Thoughts? Do you need something today? Do we even have are we ready to do anything today? Do we want to allow everyone to research these, come back in August, which I know is, a whole month away?
Well, my thought would be, while we're on the subject, for the ones that we have agreement on, to just move forward with those and vote on them today. And I think we had pretty strong consensus on the Wing Lake Road to Suzanne, the Romsey, Dennison, the Franklin Park Drive, Riverwood, and then the crosswalk signs, Normandy and Woodlore. I think we're settling on a stop sign or I think David, your feedback was to
Cut down.
clear, do the
Yeah, let's
cutback
keep,
first.
let's hold back on that one till we can do some clearing. And then I'm just curious what the thought was on Woodlore. There's 2 roads. I mean,
So, one of because I know what you're talking about, Woodlore splits, one of them aligns pretty
more.
evenly, and the other
I
one
think the
kind of,
southbound one aligns a
I
little
can't
bit.
remember which one it is,
Yeah.
I just know that.
So we would choose one. Obviously, people can just shimmy across.
They're
the-
connected to it by a crosswalk between, on the
Correct.
triangle
sidewalk
anyway.
on the crypt, so
they
you could just
pick the
walk through
one.
the crypt to the other side. So that's what I was wondering. We're only talking about
But
painting
like
one.
Franklin,
Yeah.
the crypt to the other side.
Yeah, so we're only talking about painting one spot there. Okay.
That's what if we were to.
And do we have an idea on cost of like the painting, like,
So I was gonna ask that question. I think that we should do some research on some companies that do that, and then maybe bring some designs back to the committee.
Yeah, Don gave us a price for those bounce backs
They're
for,
about a little bit under 300 apiece.
yeah. And then the stop signs, he said he couldn't put them in. They were like
relatively cheap.
Yeah.
So those are actually bolted to the asphalt.
The ones we just purchased just have a really heavy bottom.
Okay.
You can purchase ones that go into the cement, but we chose not to do that.
No, those heavy ones are pretty good. You gotta hit it pretty square to move it.
Are
Okay.
they, do people take them? Because they have taken the little,
Not yet.
Challenge accepted.
Can I, did you look at flags, like crossing flags? They're very inexpensive. You put like a PVC pipe on the where you cross, and you put red flags, and then you just walk across with the flag while you're walking across.
So that's so funny you say that because they use a flag to cross 13 Mile
Oh, what's that?
at Woodside, and people think it's like celebrating. You know, people don't realize it's like a crosswalk.
Oh, I mean, I've been in many cities that use these as
They do.
you walk
Yeah.
across and you just walk back and forth. You just hold the flag,
Yeah.
and it just gives you extra. It lets people see you in more
I
visibility.
think that would actually be a
And it's
really
very
good
inexpensive.
idea in addition to the pedestrian crossing. Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think you should do that. That'd be fun.
So, I mean, anyway, they're very inexpensive. It's just a PVC pipe hanging on the poles at the entrances with a stack of flags. And when you cross back and forth, the traffic is usually balanced. So, I don't know. I was just wondering if you'd consider that because.
We could do both, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah.
That's fun. I think the kids would love it. I don't know if they would steal those along with the signs. Yeah.
Rather than these stop signs, how about yield signs? Are those, I mean,
So the problem with the yields, Mark, is a lot of these intersections already have stop signs, so you can't, I don't think you can have people stopping in one direction and then other people yielding, because they would be yielding to a stop sign. So you either have to
make them all
have
yield?
all yields, or 2 yields and 2 nothings, or all stop signs. You can't have a yield and a stop sign at the same intersection.
Okay.
How do you wanna do this? When you
I
wanna
think
go,
trustee Ferris's, motion and second it.
so,
What
we're-
is the
so the motion is, this is a combined one, so in order to approve this motion, you technically have to, you would be approving all of these. But stop sign at Dennison and Romsey, stop sign at Wing Lake and Suzanne, stop sign at Riverwood and Franklin Park, crosswalk at Normandy and Wellington, crosswalk at Woodlore and Franklin Road. Greenbrier's future discussion, Brandingham would be a directive to have the village, maintenance crew cut that back. And that pretty much so covers everything, correct?
so that's all one motion?
It is right now.
Okay, yeah, I'm with that, yeah. Because we're gonna ask the chief to take a look at one of them. 2 of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna take a look at that, where that overlaps.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
That's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be a cutback, and then he's gonna take a look at the.
So is it as approved with the exception of a few? or
No, no,
just
right now,
like-
we're seeking approval, just so you know, we're seeking approval for a stop sign at Dennison and Romsey, a stop sign at Wing Lake and Suzanne, a stop sign at Franklin Park and Riverwood, a crosswalk at Normandy and Wellington, and a crosswalk at Franklin Road, and the most appropriate Woodlore crossing, all in one motion, all to be effectuated immediately. Chief would do some budgeting, get some costs on the crossing paint. If you find out that it's just an egregious number on those 2 items, I'd ask that you report back to us.
Okay.
So we could circulate that and
What's
maybe.
egregious? Like, what's
Well,
egregious
should we
about
wait until
Like,
we have
more than
costing on
$10,000.
all of this?
Where it was more than an item where you'd have to come back to us anyways for approval would be $10,000 for one crosswalk. That would seem insane.
Are we
It's a
comfortable
couple
comfortable
$1,000, it
with
seems
white
reasonable.
striping, or is there a particular color?
That's what
that
I'd
we
like,
want here at the
I'd
village?
I'd like to get some input from the companies that do this, is what it, you know, I know that, trust me, there will be residents out there that
Looking
will
for my head, yeah.
push back on this, particularly anything along Franklin
In the
Road.
historic district, it might be an
Now,
issue, yeah.
But it's not. Woodmore's
None of
not
them
in the
are-
historic
yeah,
district.
None of them are historic.
They're
Oh,
not in the
that's right,
historic
because
district.
so it should be okay.
So it really
yeah.
shouldn't be an issue with the historic district. We're not putting anything in the historic district right now.
So they're, okay, I'm with you.
And then we'll come back and revisit Brandingham and, of course, Greenbrier. So we have a motion from Ferris and a second from Sulaka. Do we have further discussion?
Yeah, so I feel like there's a fair amount of unknown around the crosswalks.
A little bit. A little bit.
And what about cost? What are we looking at? Do we have a sense of what this is gonna cost?
Again, it sounds like the stop signs are less expensive.
Correct.
We know what they look like. It's like, that's a known, right? And it's the crosswalks that I just feel like we're making a bit of a haste decision.
So let me ask this, because it can't hurt to have them. They can be used in multiple places. Could we purchase, well, I don't know, I don't want to create a situation, but I was gonna say, purchase the signs and put them at the two locations without having the actual crosswalk. Even though it says, doesn't it, I think it literally says crosswalk on there. Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Why don't we put this off to next month after we've gotten
Well,
costs?
Well, is there a concern on the cost to the stop signs? Because I think your concern that you're raising right now is to the two crosswalks.
Yes.
Which we have four, which is sort of why I had thought about doing these as individual motions.
I don't know if Stephanie remembers, but I thought the stop signs, getting the stop signs, putting the stop signs in was around $200 a piece.
Are these the ones that are in the road?
No, this is just a regular old,
Oh, I'd have to get that information.
So relatively inexpensive.
yeah,
I
we
would
pay
say.
Johnson to install them.
Yes.
And we buy them from that one company that sells all the, those signs, they're standard form. That can't be super expensive. That would be well within our purview and.
Yeah, originally when Meg looked at this, she said that all was within her budget authority,
Yes.
like even all together. You were at that
But the
meeting.
money's in the capital outlay fund, so.
Well, that's $10,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we saying that we can do all those crosswalks for 10,000? Or per?
I don't think it's per, I'd have to get some quotes. I don't know how much the striping is gonna cost. That would be my concern.
Right, so we do have the motion in a second. My recommendation would be to, or at least what I'm in preference of, is to approve the stop signs and the crosswalks separately. That way we have the known versus, relatively known versus the unknown.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would support that. Maybe make an amended motion.
That's what it would take. Dan would amend his motion to remove the crosswalks at this time. Angelina would support that. Then we can vote on the 4 stop signs. I'm sorry, the 3 stop signs. And put those to bed, and then have either further discussion on, or decide to do additional research, get some more information on the crosswalks.
Can we buy the crosswalk signs and put them on and then get research on how much the painting costs? Because the signs themselves are only like $300, and they're movable, the pedestrian crosswalk signs. So like, we can
That's what I was saying,
pull them
but
out,
they
like
say
when there's,
pedestrians in
like
crosswalk,
for,
but you could put them out there.
for that like Main Street event. You know what I mean? Like, you can have these signs and you can direct your traffic or for, so I feel like if we buy them and invest
So why don't we
in
just?
4 $300 signs.
Yeah, I agree, it can't hurt to have a couple
So
extras.
my
on.
suggestion still is to separate our two
Agreed.
votes. Let's
Agreed.
get the stop sign out of the way, and then we can discuss the actual crosswalks. And by the way, the stop signs, and then also the cutback, because I think we are feeling pretty good about the Brandingham, Wellington cutback.
Yeah, and Chief can direct that on his own.
Yeah, I
accord.
guess you're right.
Can I make a suggestion that I'll go ahead and get pricing, 3 quotes on the striping, and then I'll take it back to infrastructure committee and they can package it up and present it maybe at the next board meeting?
I'm good.
Sound reasonable?
Yeah, I would like that.
For the pedestrian crosswalks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well,
So
I'll
let's
amend my
just vote on
motion.
the
Stop
stop
signs.
signs.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion then to just include the stop sign.
Yeah, yeah.
Angelina?
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Clarification, the stop signs and the cutbacks, correct? You want that in the motion?
You can put the cutback in the motion, that's fine. The cutback at Brandingham.
Thank you. And then just a couple other updates from our committee before we conclude. The 13-mile road is another project, and we've been looking at the speed limit. There's the idea of sidewalks there and also separate turn lanes, crossings at the Franklin intersection. So what we're focusing on first is the speed limit issue, with the idea of potentially reducing the speed limit on 13. And thanks to Chief for beginning a study on 13 Mile Road to assess how people are currently driving, because as it's been explained to us, in order to reduce the speed limit, you need to demonstrate that the people are not currently on average exceeding the current speed limit and are actually driving consistent with what you like the speed limit to be. Am I saying that approximately right, Chief? Or?
Yes, if you want to lower it, they'd actually have to be driving slower than the speed
Right.
limit. Right.
Yeah, so Chief was kind enough to get going on that, and we've collected data going one way, and we'll be working on collecting data going the other way, so that's to be continued, but I just wanted to give everyone an update on that. And then the final item we're working on is the Pathways project, and we're in the process of exploring potential locations and also talking to residents who live in those areas, because getting resident feedback about potential pathways, that's just of the utmost importance to us.
That's fundamental, so glad to see that starting. Anything else?
Before adjournment, do we want to find a time before our next meeting to do priorities?
Oh, sorry, I meant to, so, I'm sorry, thank you, David.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So what is everybody's thoughts? I know I hate doing this, but I think the last couple times we did this, we failed, and we failed because we had such budget issues that our priority meetings evolved into budget meetings. What's everybody's thoughts on, and do you think as early as 4? Do we need 2 hours? Do you wanna, I mean, we could do 4:30, but what we're talking about is before our next meeting next month, doing a workshop ahead of time to address council priorities. That's been slowly getting kicked down the road. It's hard to operate, it's hard to give our administrator direction when our administrator doesn't know what our priorities are. And when an opportunity arises, or money becomes available, we don't know where to put that money because we haven't allocated priorities. And we've had several starts and stops, we've had discussions on it. Are we ready to get back down onto paper? What are the items that we want to start?
I'd suggest a 5 o'clock start.
Just do it for an hour. If it rolls over into the meeting, fine. I don't have a problem. We'll start our meeting and we'll continue our discussion. I'm trying to see, I'm not anticipating a huge agenda next month.
What day is the next meeting again?
14th, or the 11th, I think. It's the 11th.
The other option you have is to, if getting here at 5 o'clock is tough for people, we could start the workshop at 6 and just bump
We
the
could.
council meeting
Yeah,
to 7 or 7:30.
we've been putting in a lot of, time. I don't want to burden people
Yeah.
if getting here, and I know,
Yeah.
Dan, that's definitely an issue for you.
Yeah.
Can we
I don't
start
have a
at
problem
7?
allocating the beginning of our meeting as a priority session.
That's another option.
That'd be fine.
I mean, my schedule is flexible. I'm going to defer
Yeah, I'm pulling up my.
to you guys on what schedules look like and,
I won't be able to make it.
yeah, so, let's not schedule anything. When we get to legal this month.
Yeah.
And we've got everything, when we've got collectively what everything's in front of us, let's see what's
Yep.
mandatory, and if we could budget time for priorities in lieu of something else, or some things we can put on consent agendas and just move through quickly, we can do that.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. All right, so we'll just go to the regular time next month. Nice job today, people. Let's, yeah, I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You're gonna research
Second,
anyway.
second by Solaka, motion by Solly. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, good job today, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so you'll just call me tomorrow?
Good job.